Good afternoon and welcome to live coverage of the baseball championships in the Central Coast section. We've got a Division II matchup starting out the day today as St. Ignatius takes on Aptos for the D2 crown. I'm Jeff Kurtz alongside Kirsten Fairchilds, producer Robert Fields, cameraman Bo Fertig, providing all the action from this game, the first of a triple header here on CIF-Centralcoast.tv, and we're happy you're joining us from wherever you are around the world as we see these two teams match up. The Mariners come in with a record of 20-8. They are the higher seed in today's game. They will be the home team. St. Ignatius 22-8-1. Let's go through the lineups for you. First for the visiting St. Ignatius Wildcats, who will be batting first today. Nico Giratano, who is the starting shortstop, will bat first. Charlie Goldenson, the catcher, will bat second. Nick Johnson is the right fielder. He will be batting third. Matt Crook, the first baseman, batting cleanup today for St. Ignatius. Jack Klein is the center fielder. He will bat fifth. Travis McDowell will be batting for the pitcher Connor Kukulon. He will be the designated hitter, Will McDowell. He will be batting sixth in the lineup. Kyle Tillinghast, the third baseman, bats seventh. Matthew D. Benedetti is going to be batting eighth. He is the second baseman, and Dylan Foster will bat ninth. He is the left fielder. Defensively for Aptos on the hill today, Jared Koenig. Koenig will be pitching to Brian Booker behind the plate. Booker, the catcher, around the horn starting at third base. Michael Heinvetter at third. Ori Wofford, shortstop. Jacob Connery, the second baseman for the Aptos Mariners. Jordan Talbot over at first base. Gunnar Glom in left field. Nico Bailey in center field. John Evans in right. And folks, as we get ready for today's game, let's go ahead and talk to Kirsten for just a moment here and get your keys to the game. You talked to both coaches before today's game. First time these two teams meeting this year.
That's right. And Jeff, this is the third appearance in a Central Coast Section title game for both programs. Neither school has ever won a CCS title. Aptos back in 1984, its first appearance in championship game, and then what a drought, did not come back to the title game till 2007. St. Ignatius, conversely, 1993, they lost to their West Catholic Athletic League rival Sarah. Head coach for St. Ignatius, Matt Stecker, was part of that losing effort back in 1993. And again, another drought for the Wildcats of St. Ignatius in 2000. They lost to Lee. So two schools today, not a lot of knowledge about either squad. And at this point in the season, that's not too much of a concern. They're worried about what's going on in their dugout. Aptos head coach Dave Heinvetter said, "We are peaking right now. This is a team that is based on teamwork. We have had great individual performances, but everyone has stepped up. We're not so worried about what St. Ignatius has to do. It's what we do today." St. Ignatius, conversely, well, they're worried about the Aptos pitching. Aptos very well known for its pitching throughout the years of this program, but St. Ignatius has quite a bullpen as well, and St. Ignatius has been hitting the ball a little bit better as the CCS started. Their offense was a bit of a weakness earlier on in the year, but right now, Jeff, these two teams are where they want to be to play for a championship, the final high school baseball game for their seniors. Both teams feel they are in great form.
Well, they've got a fantastic day to play this game as well. A breeze blowing from right to left, and it's a little bit of clouds in the sky. We had a little bit of rain yesterday in the Bay Area, but it's blown away for the most part. We had a little sprinkle as we were driving down today from the game we were calling in the North Coast section last night for volleyball. Now we're in the Central Coast section today, and but it is a little bit of breeze, like we said, right to left, but a fantastic day for baseball. Not too hot, and you know, at this point in the season, the kids could care as long as it's not raining. They don't mind if it's 40 degrees outside or if it's 90 degrees outside. They just want to get this game in. And when you're playing one game for a championship, Kirsten, boy, there is a lot on the line here. And so many things can happen where really all that you've built through for the course of the season, it's not like you're playing best 2 out of 3, so you've got an opportunity to start slowly here.
That's right. I do want to mention, however, it is unseasonably cool today, Jeff. It has been pretty nice, 70s, even 80s in the Bay Area for the last few weeks. It's jacket time here at Muni, which is such a great setting for these high school teams to come play. This is the home of the San Jose Giants, the single A ball club. But a little bit of cool, and as you mentioned, the breeze picking up.
Well, we had a lengthy meeting at home plate with our home plate umpires and our umpiring crew, I should say, and as well the coaching staffs from St. Ignatius and Aptos. Greg Patrick is our plate umpire tonight. Jeff Landucci down at first base, and Steve Leary over at third. And I don't know, as far as you're going over ground rules and everything like that, this is a pretty conventional field, so I'm not quite sure what, there's not sometimes you see on high school baseball fields, it's okay. And if it gets hit underneath the tarp on that left field line, you got to do X. And we've also got a lacrosse goal out in right field, often foul territory. If it goes in there, throw your hands up, it's a double. We don't have anything like that today here at San Jose Municipal Stadium, a fantastic single-A facility. And a great opportunity for these kids to get a chance to play on a field that's involved in minor league baseball, especially after playing all year on their regular high school fields.
Jeff, our Aptos' starting pitcher today, Jared Koenig, part of the starting rotation. The seniors, definitely one of the number ones on this squad, and of course Jordan Talbot. What a game he threw to get Aptos here. A complete 3-game effort in the 7-5 win over Mount Pleasant in the semis. I guess we should go ahead and mention the number 1 seed Willow Glen of San Jose, knocked out in the first round. Lost in the quarterfinals to Leland. So there's this bracket has not progressed through form on the bottom half. However, Aptos, the number 2 seed, made it through.
Well, you could tell how fired up these kids are because Brian Booker, the catcher, throwing down to second base, just almost airmailed it out to the center fielder. He overshot second by a good 10 feet, and the shortstop back it up, made the catch. But that's the kind of throw you want to get out of your system here early.
Absolutely.
As Nico Giratano steps in. You could say there's a lot of emotions running high out in the field, and the adrenaline is pumping for these kids, and it's going to be critical for people to stay settled. As Koenig, the left-hander, on the mound, gets the sign from Booker, and here's your first pitch in the D2 final. And that one is a little bit high, upstairs, ball 1. Gray jerseys, gray pants, blue lettering for St. Ignatius. As this one just misses outside 2-0. Oh, I don't know, late strike call. I thought it caught the black, and home plate umpire Greg Patrick pausing for dramatic effect. 1 ball, 1 strike. It's a curveball, low and in, 2-1. Aptos in the navy blue jerseys, white lettering, white pants, navy blue hats.
The Mariner blue.
That's right. We saw a lot of Seattle Mariners type garb down the left field line where Aptos has set up their dugout from fans. As the count moves to 3-1 on a pitch low. Boy, how big would it be for St. Ignatius to get their leadoff hitter on with a walk here and a definite hitter's count on 3-1. And that one's a strike. Outside corner. Full count here for Giratano. First batter, top of the first inning. And this one's popped foul, out of play. Over the right-hand side. And Kirsten, I just got to say, I'm glad we moved our production car before we before we came in.
Absolutely.
We got good advice. Move it up against the side of the facility. And I think we might have lost a window there on that foul ball. This one also fouled off.
This is a very dingable ballpark as far as parking lots go.
Even the fans who mostly are parking down that right field line out beyond the fence. Someone gets a hold of one, some lefty gets a hold of one during the game and rips it foul. And as there's a strikeout, great pitch. Koenig fans the first batter after going down 3-1.
Giratano showed such great patience at the plate, but that is huge for Koenig to settle in. The senior got behind in the count and then just put it down the pike for the first out.
And now the batter is Charlie Goldenson, the catcher. Koenig's first pitch, a little bit low. Defense for Aptos, playing Goldenson to go opposite field just a little bit. Center fielder for the Mariners, Nico Bailey, shading slightly to his left as the count evens at 1-1. Koenig's pitch, breaking ball high. Two balls and a strike. also high again, 3-1. So Koenig's got himself in the same situation he had a moment ago with Giratano.
Getting behind in the count early.
Gotta love Goldenson. He's got the conventional old school stirrups on as opposed to the solid socks. I like that feature. And he takes ball 4. So a runner on with 1 out. And the batter is Nick Johnson, the right fielder.
Johnson will be playing both basketball and baseball at Vassar College next year. I don't know what he plans on doing with so much free time.
Yeah, really, he's going to have a lot of extra time for the social life, I assume. Here's the first pitch. This one is low and away, ball 1. So Koenig's struggling a little bit with the zone right now as he's gone 3-1 on the leadoff hitter, coming back to strike out Giratano, but then Goldenson, he let go with a walk and then starts out low to Johnson. Toss over to first. Talbot didn't even bother to put a tag down. That was just a, hey, I know you're there kind of a throw. Another throw over. This time Goldenson dives back in. Koenig's 1-0. Popped into the air, down the left field line. This is going to tail foul. Nice hustle by Gunnar Glom from his left field spot, flying all the way over there and actually retrieve the ball from the first row. Baseball's at a premium. You aren't going to get too many fan souvenirs here today. You got to return those things. And
no snow cone?
No, I don't think so. I don't know. I haven't heard. I have not heard what the policy is. Is there a free snow cone policy to an enterprising 8-year-old who manages to grab a foul ball? It's one of the staples of high school baseball. Breaking ball misses high, and the count's 2-1.
Koenig missing in every such possible way at this point, Jeff.
That's right. He's been having trouble in the upper part of the zone and then missing low as well. 2 balls and a strike on Johnson. And here's a nice light toss over to first base. Goldenson back in standing up, and now a conference with Brian Booker, Koenig, and Booker talking out on the mound.
Jeff, we should mention that Aptos brings a 20-8 overall record in this game. Went 12-0 to win the Santa Cruz Coast Athletic League. Undefeated championship for the Mariners.
Goldenson getting his lead over at first. The 2-1 pitch. Johnson offers at a pitch at the letters, swings through it, strike 2. 2 balls and 2 strikes on Nick Johnson with a runner at first and 1 out. Top of the first inning here in this Division II championship game. We are just underway. Getting a long look at first base. A breaking ball is going to be bounced high in the air, coming across the third baseman and throws over first. Heinvetter overshoots Talbot, and heading to third base is Goldenson. Staying at first is Johnson. Heinvetter had to hustle that throw a little bit, but had some time, but that's going to be an error on the third baseman.
Johnson, who hit .414 in league play, gets aboard on the air, and you had mentioned that the catcher during the warm-up, the throw down to second, way over the head, same there from the third baseman, and it cost him.
Yeah, that's a situation where the adrenaline's going, you're getting your first play, and you just put a little bit too much on it trying to hustle the throw. So now runners at the corners with 1 out. And Koenig in a bit of a jam here in the first inning, and we've got a first pitch foul off by Matt Crook, who's the cleanup hitter, also the first baseman for St. Ignatius.
And Crook, the first St. Ignatius player to swing at the first pitch.
Which I'm kind of surprised at, given how much Koenig has struggled with his control here in the top of the first inning. But Crook also probably battling a few nerves, wants to make his mark right away. Here's the 1-0. And this is a one-hopper. What a great grab off a hop by the shortstop Wofford. But he cannot make the play at first, and that is going to drive in a run. Some nifty glove work there by Wofford just to even come up with that ball. but unable to get his feet set and get the runner at first base. So it is 1-0 Wildcats here in the top of the first inning on the infield single.
What a play by the Aptos shortstop, drawing oohs and ahs, but then you got to hand it to the speedy Crook to beat the throw.
1-0 on the RBI by Crook. Runners at first and second for the center fielder Jack Klein, the number 5 hitter in the order for the Wildcats. Good news for St. Ignatius fans so far. This one's in the dirt. Nice block by Booker. And the count is 1-0. Koenig trying to find the right arm slot here to get going control-wise. He's had 2 batters in 3-ball counts so far this inning, and has not really found a rhythm with the strike zone. The 1-0 decline, well off the plate, and the count is 2-0. Shortstop Wofford is bird-dogging Nick Johnson over at second base, trying to keep him close. Outfield playing straight away on Klein, but the infield shading slightly to the right, what with Wofford playing well over close to the bag. You can see on your screen. Here's the 2-0 pitch. Koenig a long look at second base, comes in. This one is going to be fouled away down the right-hand side. Two balls and a strike on Klein. Travis McDowell, the designated hitter in the on-deck circle for the Wildcats. Koenig on 2-1. Breaking ball, good looking pitch there, and Klein swings through it. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
That was a beauty by Koenig.
Klein steps back in from the right-hand side. Koenig's 2-2. Bounced right side, could be a double play ball. No, they're just going to go to first, hustling over. Koenig by a half step gets Klein. Runners move up to second and third. So there are 2 down in the inning. 3-1 on the putout. And the batter is Travis McDowell, who's got a huge opportunity here, Kirsten, with 2 runners in scoring position. A base hit should score both of them into the outfield at least, and then give St. Ignatius a 3-0 lead. Big at-bat here early in this game.
That's right, and boy, as you mentioned, Koenig barely beaten Klein to the plate. We're seeing some speed early from the St. Ignatius Wildcats.
First pitch to the DH, swing and a miss, strike 1.
McDowell will be playing football. He's a tight end. He'll be headed to University of San Diego in the fall.
Good football program down there at the San Diego. Here's the 1-0. Right up the middle, off Koenig's glove, hustling. Here's the throw, and by a half step, Koenig gets McDowell for the out. Good recovery by the pitcher, who gets in a bit of a jam in the first inning, but with 1 hit and an error, St. Ignatius only manages 1 run. Strands 2. We now head to the bottom half of the first inning, and let's give you the batting order for Aptos, and then we'll give you the defensive alignment for St. Ignatius. John Evans is the right fielder. He will bat first for the Mariners. Ori Wofford, the shortstop, will bat second. Michael Heinvetter, the third baseman, will bat third. Jordan Talbot in the cleanup spot. He is your first baseman. Nico Bailey, the center fielder, will bat fifth. Brian Booker, the catcher, bats sixth. The left fielder, Gunnar Glom, in the 7th spot in the order. Jared Koenig, the pitcher, bats 8th. And Jacob Connery is your second baseman. He bats 9th. Defensively for St. Ignatius, it's Connor Kukulon on the hill. For the Wildcats, throwing to Charlie Goldenson behind the plate. Kyle Tillinghast is over at third base. Nico Giratano at short. Matthew DiBenedetti is over at second base. Matt Crook at first. Dylan Foster is in left field for the Wildcats. Jack Klein in center, and Nick Johnson is in right. And boy, you got to think Aptos fans, and especially the coaching staff, led by Dave Heinvetter, got to be breathing a sigh of relief given how rough that first inning was, only being down 1-0 going into the bottom of the first.
Yeah, I think they're probably pretty happy only to be going down 1-0, and certainly not the pristine start I could only imagine that Jared Koenig was looking for. But you have to admire his composure, Jeff. That could have gotten away from him. He stayed with the play, went off his foot, made the play to prevent the runs coming across. Now, we'll see from St. Ignatius, Connor Kukulon. Kukulon actually not in the starting rotation all season long. He had arm surgery last year, and it affected, they got some spot innings from him, but he went 5 in the win and got the win against Los Altos earlier in the playoffs. I don't know how much we'll see from him today because they have other pitchers that will be available. Remember, in high school, Little League, only so many designated innings per pitcher, but Kukulon being counted upon to get off to a good start here for the Wildcats.
Yeah, and that's based by week. So you get so many innings, and actually even out in California, so many outs in a week before you cannot pitch for the rest of that week. So a pitch count, as it were, except not so much a pitch count, but innings and outs generated. And so we'll see how long Kukulon can go today. He's going to start out a first pitch right down the heart of the plate to John Evans for strike 1.
And we should mention, Jeff, that the number 1 pitcher for St. Ignatius has been Colin Mansour, who's going to Cal to pitch. He's available for 6 innings today.
Kukulon's 0-1 is a little bit high, 1-1. So certainly a lot of strength pitching-wise for Matt Stecker today and his St. Ignatius Wildcats. He's got a lot of people he can choose from, especially if he's got Kukulon on the hill and his number 1 pitcher. As there's strike 2 down the middle of the plate, 1 ball, 2 strikes on Evans, especially if he's got his best pitcher available for a potential 6 innings.
And his number 2 and number 3 and the closer relief, everyone is at least partially available today, and that's good news for Wildcats
fans.
Nice
management by the coaching staff there. There's Evans, who tries to get a piece of a ball on the outside half of the plate and misses strike 3.
So good command showed by Kukulon. Again, very frustrating year for him last year. Had the arm surgery and just, a number of outings this year, limited outings, spot innings. But what an opportunity for him to start things off here in the CCS championship game.
Well, and he is right on top of his control, unlike Koenig, who struggled a little bit in the top of the first inning. Kukulon was right on it with that first batter, Evans. This pitch is going to be low and away, ball 1. Infield and outfield playing Wofford straight away. This pitch is going to be bounced foul towards the Aptos dugout.
Connor Kukulon showing all business out on the hill thus far, but out of everyone on his squad, he is known as the cut-up. He's the jokester, the one that keeps it loose. Silly, witty, all sorts of humorous comments, but he is a man with a plan right now.
The 1-1 pitch bounced foul down the third base line. I'll tell you what, he's also not wasting any time out on the mound. Like he's got a lunch reservation he's going to be late for if he doesn't hurry up here.
Yeah, he's got a very efficient movement. As you said, Jeff, already he comes out in control and in command.
1 ball, 2 strikes on Wofford. Teammate John Evans was in that hole a moment ago, struck out. Here's the 1-2 pitch. This one is going to be fouled off the leg of Wofford in the batter's box. Nice call by our home plate umpire, Greg Patrick. He was right on top of that. And the count remains 1 ball, 2 strikes. 1-0 is our score. St. Ignatius got a run on an infield single in the top of the first inning. The RBI going to Matt Crook. This pitch off the plate by design, 2-2, as Charlie Goldenson was trying to get Ori Wofford fishing. Count is even. Swing and a miss, strike 3 on an off-speed pitch. Nice job there, wow.
I asked head coach Matt Stecker before the game what we could expect from Kukulon. He said a lot of strikes. He throws a lot of strikes.
Well, you know that coming to the plate then as a hitter. If that's the case, then you want to attack early in the count because you're likely to get some of your best pitches there early. So as Kukulon trying to get ahead. That pitch outside corner at the knees, 0-1. That's not exactly the kind of first pitch strike, though, Michael Heinvetter was looking for. He's looking for something middle in, not low and outside, and that one a great pitch right at the knees. This one's going to be bounced up the middle and is going to get through for the first Aptos hit of the game. Heinvetter with 2 outs, singles to center.
Heinvetter looking for the pitch and delivering, so Aptos with 1 aboard.
Yeah, and nice hitting. I like what Heinvetter did this there, Kirsten, because he took one that wasn't really what he wanted on the outside corner at the knees, but that second pitch, he was ready and got something he liked and bounced it right up the middle, right back through the box. Outstanding hitting is Jordan Talbot now the batter. Kukulon's first pitch is going to be fouled away. But you can already see the difference from the first 2 hitters and now the second 2 hitters. The first 2 looking at strikes early in the count. Heinvetter attacking on the second pitch, and Talbot there, first pitch looked good. He took a cut at it. Nice block in the dirt by Goldenson on a pitch outside, and the count even at 1-1.
Jeff, it bears mentioning that St. Ignatius reached this title game with a 10-0 win over the 8th seed Leland. That was called on the 10-run rule.
I doubt we will see that today. Here's a one-hopper to the third baseman. Nice throw, Tillinghast over to Crook for the final out of the first inning. So Aptos strands a runner, a 2-out single as Heinvetter is left at first base. We've completed one here from San Jose Municipal Stadium, the Division II championship game here in the Central Coast section. You are following the action on CIF-Centralcoast.tv.
You may watch highlights or a replay of today's game in our on-demand section, and you can also buy a DVD or Blu-ray of today's game right on CIF-Centralcoast.tv. Click on Buy DVD, and you can order today's game right now. Have a game that lasts a lifetime. Brought to you by CIF-Centralcoast.tv.
Jeff Kurtz alongside Kirsten Fairchilds. We should also point out not only is this game being broadcast on CIF-Centralcoast.tv, but it's also part of the Play On High School Sports Network, and in particular, YouTube.com/PlayOnNetwork. That's right, folks. A number of baseball, lacrosse, softball, track events taking place across the country, and you can follow it all on YouTube.com/PlayOnNetwork. Well, here today on CIF-Centralcoast.tv, we're specifically covering these 3 baseball games. We've also got in the Bay Area and taking place on the Play On Network on YouTube, games in the North Coast section. We got a couple of lacrosse games going on up there at Marin Catholic High School, girls and boys Division II. So a number of events taking place around the state of California and around the country. You can follow it all on YouTube.com/PlayOnNetwork. CIF Central Coast TV, also part of the Play On High School Sports Network, as it will be Kyle Tillinghast, Matthew DiBenedetti, and Dylan Foster, the 3 scheduled hitters for St. Ignatius here in the top of the second inning. And Tillinghast, the third baseman, who just made the final out of the first, takes low for ball 1. Second pitch, also low for ball 2. And Brian Booker wants a new baseball for Koenig.
Koenig, who will continue to play baseball at the next level. He is going to Central Arizona. About 45 minutes outside Phoenix and Coolidge.
This pitch is hit in the 5-5 hole. Nice grab and throw over to first base. Ori Wofford. Full extension dive to his right and gets Tillinghast by a step.
Well, and the Aptos fans love it. Wofford already just here at the top of the second already with 2 ESPN-worthy highlight reel plays.
No kidding. What a glove on this kid. As the batter is DiBenedetti, and he is going to take one for a strike on the inside corner. And a swing and a miss, strike 2. Koenig, I think inspired by the play of Wofford, has gotten 2 quick strikes. We haven't seen him do that against anybody here so far today.
Well, Wofford providing excellent defense behind Koenig.
Ball's low and in, 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Wofford will stay on this side of the hill and expected to attend West Valley College, a local community college located in Saratoga.
This pitch is inside 2-2. Well, I'll tell you what, West Valley's going to get a good one. I mean, that short hop, even though he wasn't able to retire the runner in the first inning, that short hop he gloved on a line drive right back up the middle was fantastic. And then that dive in the hole just now to actually make the play. Derek Jeter would have been proud. This ball is up and out of the zone. Full count now on DiBenedetti.
Wofford able to cover so much ground.
Full count pitch, off speed, popped in the air, right side, calling for it, and making the grab is Jacob Connery, and Nico Bailey, the center fielder, then grabbed his second baseman. That was one of those spots in the field where communication's so critical.
These teams did play here in the semifinals. Muni certainly much larger dimensions per se than most of these high school teams play on a regular basis, but you're hoping the communication, there's lots of chatter in that on that play.
Dylan Foster now the batter, and he's going to take strike 1. Foster, the left fielder. Yeah, really crucial that your center fielder, right fielder, and second baseman are communicating, because as a second baseman, your job is to go hard for the ball until you hear someone behind you call you off. And if you don't hear that, you keep running, and that can result in some significant collisions if you're not too careful. Nice job by Bailey making his first play of the game, catching his second baseman.
Yeah, Bailey was charging in.
Swing and a miss on a pitch in the dirt on 0-2. It is short hopped. A nice throw, Booker down to his first baseman, Talbot, to retire Foster. A much more comfortable 1-2-3 inning for Koenig, who makes a point of high-fiving his shortstop, Ori Wofford, on Wofford's trip into the dugout. We have completed an inning and a half here at San Jose Municipal Stadium. It remains 1-0, St. Ignatius leading over Aptos.
Are you looking for a great place to advertise your business while reaching the greater high school community? Then you want to advertise on CIF-Central-Coast.tv. We have great rates for your business while giving you the opportunity to get your message out to a very important demographic. For more information, give us a call at area code 619-677-3246. That's area code 619-677-3246.
Nico Bailey, Brian Booker, Gunnar Glom, the scheduled hitters for Aptos in the bottom of the second inning. But boy, you get the sense, Kirsten, that Wofford's play really sparked Koenig and his pitching over the last 2 hitters in that inning. He looked very sharp after Wofford made that outstanding play in the hole for the first out.
Well, good play begets good play, and when you're a pitcher on the mound and your defense are making sparkling plays behind you, I think, Koenig, this is a huge momentous occasion for both these programs, and I think the fact that neither program has actually won a CCS title before makes it even more high drama here at Muni today. In fact, Coach Stecker told me that if St. Ignatius could finally come through with a CCS win, it would be a defining moment in the school's long history that would stand up for generations to come. No one's taken this one lightly,
No,
Jeff.
I was going to say, mount an elephant of pressure on my shoulders, holy mackerel. Here's the first pitch from Kukulon to begin the bottom half of the second inning, and this is outside for ball 1. Well, the significance of the event certainly not lost upon the coaching staff for the Wildcats. And what has been a long and rich athletic tradition at St. Ignatius High School. Here is a pitch on the outside corner for a strike from Kukulon, 1-1 to the center fielder, Bailey. I don't know if I would have included that in my pregame motivational speech, but perhaps.
I have no doubt that Aptos is well aware. There are a couple of players on this Aptos squad that I believe had older brothers on that 2007 championship game appearance.
This is a drive into the gap left center field, and that is going to fall for extra bases. Hustling Bailey on his way to second. Grabbing it at the warning track finally is Jack Klein, and it is a leadoff double for Nico Bailey here in the bottom of the second inning.
Bailey, the senior, undecided where he will play. However, his head coach assuring me that he will play at the next level. And Bailey, gosh, that's just got to be a huge boost to Aptos. And the Mariners fans doing a really great job. We've seen them able to celebrate Wolford's defense play. And now Bailey's aboard.
I'll tell you what, Bailey making a pretty good case with a ringing double to the gap in left center, and that brings the catcher Booker to the plate. And he's going to square to bunt and take a pitch for strike one. Not a bad idea here by Booker to at least show bunt and see what the defense is going to give. And we had first baseman Matt Crook charging, third baseman Kyle Tillinghast playing on the bag at third.
Aptos willing to play the small ball when it counts. They have done that throughout the season. Again, this is a team based on team effort.
And this time, bunt down first base side. Great bunt. The sacrifice works as Kukulon fields it and throws to DeBenedetti, who is covering on the play. Heading down to third is Bailey. And so there's a runner 90 feet away looking to tie this ball game up here in the second inning with just one out. The batter is Gunnar Glom. So Glom, the number 7 hitter and the left fielder, looking to get his team on the scoreboard. Nice job blocking this pitch low and outside Goldenson. If that pitch gets away from him, it's an easy run for Aptos. Instead, 1 ball, no strikes. Infield has got corners in for St. Ignatius. Crook cheating in from first base. Tillinghast playing even with the bag over at third. The 1-0 is going to be fouled away right-hand side. And the count evens at 1-1. Huge here for Kukulon to get a strikeout, Kirsten. If he can do that, that eases a lot of the pressure on him.
Well, and Kukulon, who sat down the first 2 batters, looks so impressive and in control, but you really have to admire the heart and the bottom of this Mariners lineup. They've had some good pieces of hitting.
Great opportunity for Glom, getting something into the air to the outfield even, just a sacrifice fly. That's all it's going to take to get the speedy Bailey in from third base. The 1-1 pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 2. As it looked like Glom was diving for that ball on the outside half of the plate a little bit and swung through it.
The Glom family, a long tradition through Aptos High, known for being fantastic athletes, whether boys basketball and baseball or girls volleyball.
The 1-2, well outside, 2-2. This is where baseball gets really interesting. The chess match taking place between pitcher and hitter, the runner at third, the defense, even the coaches in the coaching boxes and down in the dugouts. It is, for the casual baseball fan, this is something to really keep an eye on here. 3-2. Now the count is full with 1 out.
Tying run at third.
Kukulon does have a base open, so not the worst thing in the world for St. Ignatius to get a walk here. Certainly you don't want to throw Glom anything on the meat of the plate. Here's the full count pitch. A bouncer to the shortstop, playing it off his glove, throwing over, and a scoop. No, Crook came off the bag, so Giratano unable to get the out at first. It would have driven in a run anyway, Giratano playing deep, so that was going to be an RBI regardless, but St. Ignatius unable to get the out. And they're going to call that an error on Giratano. I don't know. I'd almost credit Glom with the RBI on that, because even if he had fielded it cleanly and gotten the out, they still would have driven in a run. I mean, Bailey was going to score, but either way, it is now tied at 1-1. And a first pitch in the dirt, ball 1.
Well, and I think Giarantano mishandled that from the get-go, Jeff. Did not field the ball cleanly. And had problems picking up the ball.
Double play opportunity for St. Ignatius. Short lead over at first base for Glom. This pitch is outside, 2-0. So the ease of Connor Kukulon's first inning has been replaced by the jam he has found himself here in the second. A run already in after a leadoff double by Bailey. Runner at first, 1 out. 2-0 pitch is going to be skied into the air to the short outfield. Hustle in. Everyone trying to get there. It's going to fall in between the left fielder, the center fielder, and the shortstop. And it's going to look like a line drive in the book on the base hit by Jared Koenig, who's helping his own cause and advances the runner to second base.
Koenig getting aboard. Well, that's where it comes to the dimensions of this field. Long runs in from the outfield.
320 in the corners, 380 to dead center field. But even dimensions all the way around, and a lot of acreage to cover out there, as now we've got a mound visit by the St. Ignatius pitching coach.
And Jeff, as I mentioned, St. Ignatius has a lot of options here. I'm sure they want Kukulon to go as long as he can, but they're as you said, there's been some good management of the bullpen.
Well, runners at first and second with one out. The batter is Jacob Connery. Connery, the second baseman, batting ninth in the order. Koenig over at first. At second base is Gunnar Glom. We're tied at 1. One down in the inning. Kukulon's going to fake a look at second base, and that is a legal play. You only have to, if you're going to make a move, the only base you have to throw to is first. But you can fake a throw to second and to third. Here is the offering from Kukulon. First pitch, outside corner, strike one.
Bit of a delayed call, it seemed.
Yes, Craig Patrick has been doing that to us all game so far. That is his style. So, folks, if I'm taking a moment or two to let you know it's a strike, I just want to make sure I'm going to get that signal from our home plate umpire. No balls and a strike on Connery. This one is going to get away from Goldenson on a pitch in the dirt, and the runners are going to move up 90 feet. Let's say that's a wild pitch right there,
yes.
And Glom is now at third, Koenig at second, and a base hit can give Aptos their first lead of this game.
Aptos has shown throughout these playoffs that they can score runs in a hurry. Really great base running they've shown, and looking to take advantage of any opportunity, and it appears they have one here.
The Wildcats are going to play the infield in here on the 1-1 pitch. One is going to be strike two on the outside corner. Great spot there by Kukulon, getting one at the knees, and Connery in a hole. The 1-2 pitch is going to be slapped down the right field line and foul. Nice two-strike hitting by Connery.
That one falling in the vicinity of all the Bay Area newspapers, photographers in attendance here. Of course, I'm sure the Chronicle covering St. Ignatius, located in the heart of San Francisco.
The 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss, strike three. Off speed, great pitch by Kukulon. He gets a second out of the inning.
And his third strikeout of the ball game.
Boy, if he can get out of this with just one run across the board, just like Koenig did for Aptos in the top of the first, he'll be breathing a sigh of relief. But he's got to get through John Evans, who he struck out on a 1-2 pitch in the in the bottom of the first inning. And you wonder if Evans is thinking first pitch fastball here. He's going to be swinging. He took a couple the first time. This one is going to be outside for a ball, 1-0. And I think Kukulon was happy about that. Happy in the sense, not that it was a ball, but happy that a pitch he hung was well out of the zone. This one is going to be a little low, and it's now 2-0, a hitter's count for Evans.
Kukulon trying to stay loose out there on the hill. Shaking out his limbs. Critical moment.
The 2-0 pitch is a line drive. It's going to get by the shortstop. That's going to get one in, and holding at third is Koenig. A base hit for Evans has made this a 2-1 ball game as that shot just out of the grasp of Giratano over at short. Good effort, but couldn't make the play.
The Aptos bats have come alive here in the bottom of the second. Kukulon still with runners at the corners.
Glom scores on the play, and the batter is Wofford, who's played some outstanding defense, struck out his first time up on a 2-2 pitch after fouling one off. A base hit here, or driving another run. This pitch is outside, gets away from Goldenson. Here comes Koenig to the plate, the throw, and Koenig is going to be out by a mile as long as Kukulon hung on to the ball, and he did. Koenig claiming that he lost the ball and then retrieved it again, but no, the play Goldenson to Kukulon. Koenig is retired. Now we got a conversation. Dave Heinvetter has come down the line, and now we're going to have the umpires getting together to make sure the call is correct.
That looks so ill-advised from Koenig, who I'm sure was listening to his third base coach. Good effort from Kukulon, but yes, this call is going to stand.
Greg Patrick conversing with Jeff Landucci, and Landucci said, nope, clean play. Aptos manages a couple of runs, though, to take the lead. They strand one as Koenig retired at the plate. Interesting play there. Let's keep it right here for just a moment, folks, and recap that, because that's not a conventional third out to an inning. You knew on the ball getting away from Goldenson, you knew that Evans was going to get down to second base. Koenig really didn't seem like he had the foot speed to necessarily make that play, and also hesitated coming from third a bit.
You know, I don't mean to keep saying the word dimensions, but in a lot of high school baseball fields, there's not a lot of room behind home plate, and Koenig obviously, after the hesitation, must have felt he would have had the chance. But, you know, we have to also credit the catcher, although that got away from Goldenson. He did recover much quicker than expected.
Yeah, it was a tough pitch in the dirt, and so it is 2-1 our score as we go to the top of the third inning. You're following the action here live on CIF-Centralcoast.tv.
Would you like to have your game broadcast live on the internet and be able to watch it again and again on demand, all while making money for your sports program? Would you like to give your students the opportunity to create their own broadcasts for your school's athletic events? If so, then contact us at info@kbcsports.com or give us a call at area code 619-677-3246.
It'll be Giratano, Goldenson, and Johnson, the top three in the order to face Koenig here in the top of the third inning. Koenig's first pitch is going to dive low for ball one. Giratano struck out on a full count pitch to begin the game in the top of the first inning. He calls time and takes a strike. He did not get the time call from the home plate umpire.
That has got to be frustrating for Giratano, but we had that lengthy conversation happen before the game.
This pitch is a breaking ball that is a little bit high. Koenig doesn't like that call. 2 balls and a strike, so nobody's happy with Greg Patrick right now, the hitter or the pitcher. 2 balls and a strike. Koenig's pitch is low, 3-1. And now Booker wisely going out to talk to his pitcher, who is probably a little fired up from the out call at the end of the inning and then didn't get a curveball strike call that he was hoping for. And so Booker wisely goes out there to settle him down.
Well, high drama in this game, as we've discussed, and Jared Koenig has been involved in so much of it.
Koenig's 3-1 pitch is going to be in the inside corner for a strike, full count. And once again, Giratano is finding himself in a full count situation. Last time he fouled off a couple. This time he's going to swing and miss at strike 3. Nice recovery by Koenig once again, and he has retired Giratano on strikes twice in the ballgame, and that'll bring Charlie Goldenson to the plate. Goldenson walked in his first at-bat, came around to score on an RBI infield single by Matt Crook. That is the 1 run in the game for St. Ignatius. Koenig gets Goldenson to swing and miss at strike 1. Breaking ball, fouled down the third base line, and quickly 0-2. You can see Koenig's breaking ball starting to work a little bit more effectively here as we move along in the game. Sometimes when you get a little bit tired and you've got a lot of adrenaline early, that actually helps you out because you're not overthrowing. This pitch is up and in for a ball, 1-2.
Well, and Aptos now with the lead in this ball game, so Koenig able to pitch with the run support. Looks a little more confident.
And this pitch is a dead ball. Goldenson was hit. So he is on for the second time in the game.
As the announcer's jinx comes into play.
That's right. Koenig is looking fantastic. His control has been regained, and then he plunks Goldenson. And the batter is Nick Johnson, who reached on an error by the third baseman Heinvetter back in the first inning. So Goldenson aboard with 1 out. Top of the third. Koenig long look at first and comes to the plate, and this one is going to get away from the catcher Booker, and down to second easily is Goldenson, and now St. Ignatius has a runner in scoring position with 1 out.
These wild pitches, Jeff, the pass ball's really coming into play here early in this ball game.
That's definitely a wild pitch there, as Booker unable to block that pitch in the dirt. So Johnson has a big opportunity to drive in a run with a base hit. The 1-0 from Koenig. Low and in, 2-0.
Johnson, who hits .366 in West Catholic Athletic League play.
Koenig checks second. The 2-0. Slapped into the air into center field. This will be an easy play for the center fielder Bailey, and he'll get that ball in quickly. Nice throw all the way to third base. Goldenson would have been out by a day and a half if he tried for that, but he took a couple steps toward third and wisely moved back to second base. 2 outs on the flyout, and that'll bring Matt Crook to the plate. Crook drove in that first St. Ignatius run. In fact, drove in Goldenson, who's on second base right now, so St. Ignatius hoping for a bit of deja vu here. That is a breaking ball that's going to be tipped, foul tip, as it got away from Booker. And so Goldenson is going to head back to second base.
Koenig pointing that out immediately.
Crook reached on an infield single. He actually hit a line drive that Wofford was able to grab amazingly on one hop, on the short hop, but couldn't recover and get his feet set in time to get Crook at first base. This pitch in the dirt, Booker blocks it, 1 ball, 1 strike. Well, I'll tell you what, these catchers have been pretty good. I mean, they've been handling a lot of pitches in the dirt. Shows a lot of confidence in both Kukulon and Koenig that they feel like they can throw a ball in the dirt, and both of their catchers can block it.
Exactly right.
The 1-1 to Crook is going to be a high chopper to Koenig on one hop, and he's going to underhand it to first base, and he is out of it. A runner stranded here in the top of the third inning. 1-3 on the putout by Koenig. We move to the bottom of the third with Aptos leading in this Division II championship game 2-1 over St. Ignatius.
We've got baseball for you all Memorial Day weekend. After all the action today in the Central Coast section, we'll head to Sacramento for the Sac Joaquin Section Baseball Championships on Memorial Day, Monday, May 28th. Game coverage begins at noon on CIF SacJoaquin.tv. Put the game on and follow the hardball action all weekend. Brought to you by Play On Sports and the Play On High School Sports Network.
And folks, you can catch those games on our YouTube channel as well, youtube.com/PlayOnNetwork. In fact, baseball games taking place around the country today. So happy you're joining us from wherever you are around the world, following the action. Here in the Central Coast section is Kukulon out for his third inning of work. He will be facing Wofford, Heinvetter, and Talbot, as Wofford was actually in the batter's box on that play at the plate when Koenig was thrown out trying to get home on a wild pitch. And so Wofford actually had a chance to look at a couple of pitches and he'll get back in there. So he's seen a number of pitches from Kukulon, and that should give him a good battery of information for this at-bat.
That's right, Wofford, the second to go down swinging at the start of the game. We talked so much about Kukulon's early composure, his efficient, business-like manner around the hill, and, you know, did not get rattled there at the end of the second, able to make that play on the failed steal attempt by Koenig.
1 run, 1 hit, 1 error for St. Ignatius in the game. 2 runs, 4 hits, 1 error for Aptos, as the Mariners look to add to their 1-run lead in the bottom of the 3rd inning. 7 innings in high school baseball. If for some reason somebody explodes offensively and we have a 10-run deficit for some squad by the time we get through the 5th, that is your mercy rule. But I have a feeling, Kirsten, we will not be seeing that today. This has been a tight ball game so far, and I would anticipate likely to continue as Wofford the first batter, and he will take one low for ball 1.
Wofford, we've seen such an early outstanding performance from him defensively. I'm sure he'd like to get aboard here to start things off.
0 for 1.
The bottom of the 3rd.
That's right, 0 for 1 in the game. Sorry, Kirsten, a strikeout. This one's going to be bounced up the middle. Shortstop Giratano is there. Throw is going to pull Crook off the bag. Error on the shortstop, and the leadoff man aboard.
That is the second error on Nico Giratano. Tough start for him in this ball game. Looked like it perhaps should have been a routine play.
He certainly was relating to it like it was. He even got in a pad of the ball in the glove before, as he gathered himself to throw, but the throw was a little bit wide and Crook couldn't stay on the bag, and so the leadoff runner aboard, though Wofford a little bit frustrated that it was not on a base hit. Squaring, bunting, nice job getting the bunt down. This sacrifice is going to work. Outstanding job by Heinvetter, and there is a runner at second with 1 out on the sacrifice bunt. That's the second sacrifice bunt that the Mariners have attempted in this game.
Aptos High, the program has such a history. Number of years ago, the Aptos Little Leaguers make it all the way to the Little League World Series, and a documentary was made called Small Ball about that effort, and Aptos succeeding with a small ball here today so many years later.
What year was that? Do you recall?
You know, it was the time of names like Andrew Biancardi, who's over at Santa Clara, and Kevin Eichhorn.
As a wild pitch gets away from the catcher Goldenson, and down to third goes Wofford. 1 ball, no strikes for Jordan Talbot, who is 0 for 1 in the game, a ground out to third in his first at-bat. St. Ignatius is going to play the infield in. You wonder if some of these Aptos kids have either A, seen the documentary, or B, probably went up through the same Little League.
Or have older brothers that actually played in that game. Eichhorn, there's an Eichhorn on this squad. Jeff, I do want to mention that Coach Stecker of St. Ignatius told me before the game that, you know, his team does not shoot itself in the foot. They are very clean defensively. We have not seen that from them thus far today.
Looking to make a play here with the infield in. 1 ball, 1 strike on Talbot, the cleanup hitter. The pitch, a little bit high and away by design. The count is 2 balls and a strike.
Goldenson framed that, however, nicely for Greg Patrick, but didn't get the call.
Down at third is Wofford. Reached on an error. Moved to second on a sacrifice bunt, to third on a wild pitch. This pitch is going to be fouled away right side, well out of play. And the count evens at 2-2. And right now for Kukulon, who's got 3 strikeouts in the game already, Kirsten, a strikeout here would be huge.
Yeah, you'd like to see Kukulon recover. He did so toward the end of that last inning, but not before Aptos created some damage.
The 2-2 pitch to Talbot. Right on the outside corner, strike 3 called. Huge pitch. Huge pitch by Connor Kukulon. And there are 2 outs in the inning, and the infield can go back to conventional depth. Nico Bailey, the batter. Bailey doubled to left field in the second inning on a 2-1 pitch and came around to score the first Aptos run of the game.
And showed he could throw from third, from center field. He's had a great game thus far for the Mariners.
He's going to take a pitch high for ball 1. Again, I hesitate just a moment because Greg Patrick has paused for dramatic effect on his strike calls throughout the game.
It's high drama. That's why there was such a lengthy meeting before the game, Jeff. Everything is fueling this occasion.
This one is going to be outside. The count is now 2-0. There is a base available for St. Ignatius, so Connor Kukulon doesn't have to give Bailey anything great to hit. Really, a walk doesn't do a whole lot of damage at this point for the Wildcats. Here's the 2-0 pitch. That is going to be well in. 3-0, and you can see Kukulon trying to keep it away from Bailey here. And I would suspect, Kirsten, on this 3-0 pitch that Kukulon is not going to try to put it right down the heart of the plate.
No.
Unless, of course, he is going to put it right down the heart of the plate. You know, and in that situation, I don't know. Given how good a hitter Bailey is, the conventional wisdom is you're going to take 3-0, but I kind of think in that situation you give him the green light, because if Kukulon's going to throw it right down the heart of the plate, that is right in Bailey's wheelhouse. This pitch is going to be on the outside corner for strike 2. And that might have been, that 3-0 pitch might have been the best one he's going to get. Now 3-2 with 2 outs.
Kukulon has not issued any walks in this game.
This one is going to be fouled away right side. Nice job by Bailey just to keep it alive. Runner at third, Wofford, in a 2-1 ball game here in the bottom of the third inning. Kukulon comes in, and it is low. Nice block by Goldenson, and trotting down to first base is Bailey with a walk. First one of the game for Aptos. And the batter is Brian Booker, who had a sacrifice bunt in the second inning. Though we've got to think now with runners at the corners. Interesting situation defensively for St. Ignatius.
Yes.
Goldenson's got a good arm, so he could throw down and get the third out if Bailey tries to steal. Bailey's got very good foot speed. But then you got that runner on third base you got to worry about as well. Bailey's just going to go, and now they're going to turn and look at him and see if they can get him in a rundown, and if the runner from third's going to go. Now he's going to break. Here's the throw to the plate, and he is safe. Is Wofford coming in, and Bailey ends up at second base. That is exactly what Aptos wanted to have happen. Force the defense to make a play, and St. Ignatius couldn't get it done, and now it is 3-1 Aptos.
Well, you talked about the foot speed of Bailey. How about some of the acting and theatrics as well? You get the impression that the Mariners, that's not the first time they have been involved in that this season, and what a team effort to get the run across.
It's a situation where Bailey, his job is just to stay in a pickle as long as he can and give Wofford an opportunity to get down the line and get in.
And Jeff, going back to that, I mean, St. Ignatius taking the bait and taking it and going with it.
And that's almost a situation. Bailey took off before
Yeah.
Kukulon even came to the plate, so you might as well almost let him go, but it's, as a baseball player, your instinct is, I haven't pitched the ball yet. I got to get this guy out. As this count now 1-1 on Booker.
Yeah, I would think this might rattle the St. Ignatius Kukulon, and, you know, in hindsight, you think, well, let him go. Let him steal.
Or you got to get that out right away.
Yeah.
And once Bailey got near second base, and they couldn't get him immediately, that gave Wofford an opportunity to get down the line and force the first baseman Crook to make a tough throw to home plate. The count is even 1-1, and this is skied in the air to left center field. Looks to be playable for Foster or Klein. Foster is going to call off Klein and make the play in left, but a run is in for Aptos, and they didn't even get a hit in the inning. An error. Wofford gets to second on a sacrifice bunt, gets to third on a wild pitch, scores on a Bailey rundown at second base, and it is 3-1 Aptos as we move to the top of the fourth inning.
KBCSports.com and the Play on Sports Network showcase great high school games every week. And now you can access our content using multiple platforms. Follow us on Facebook, get the latest KBC and Play on news on Twitter, or catch our highlights in high definition on YouTube. All of our content can now link to your favorite social media site. Share all the high school action you see every week. Brought to you by your home for high school sports, kbcsports.com, and Play On Sports.
And now taking over the reins of the play-by-play for innings 4, 5, and 6, we turn it to Kirsten Fairchilds.
Thanks so much, Jeff. Well, Aptos, bit of a slow start, if you will. The Mariners looking very confident at this point, and as head coach Dave Heinvetter had said, you know, this is a team effort. I actually asked him, Jeff, you know, what are some weaknesses that you would still like to see, you know, get better here in this championship game? And he said, well, you know, we're peaking. There aren't any I care to share.
That's interesting. Any he cares to share, or any that exist? You wonder at this particular point. But they've played. You know, it's been an interesting game, Kirsten, in that it hasn't been a perfect game for Aptos. They have run into some bumps, but they've been able to persevere, and they've been able to grind out a few runs with not a ton of hits, as you witnessed in that third inning. And now, really, it's up to Koenig pitching and the defense to get it done from here as we move to the top of the fourth. We're just getting to the midpoint of the game, but with Klein, McDowell, and Tillinghast coming up, and Koenig looks like he's settled down a little bit, it bodes well for the Mariners.
Klein, 0 for 1, retired on the comebacker back in the first. Hitting number 5 in the lineup, steps in. Ball 1. Koenig has certainly gotten better as the game has gone on, with the exception of hitting Golden Sun in the previous inning, and ground ball to short. Wofford, we've seen him make some great plays, a routine play to retire the leadoff runner.
Yeah, I would assert at this point that if we had a chance to mic up Koenig and ask him, he would say, my control is not pinpoint right now, but I'm settling in. And if we were to give an honest assessment of where he's at the moment, you can see he's probably not, this probably isn't his sharpest game so far, but you know, if he can induce ground balls to Wofford like that for the remainder of the game, he'll take that every time. You don't always have to have a double-digit strikeout performance to be effective.
McDowell steps in, the designated hitter, retired on the comebacker back in the first inning. 1 down, 1 ball, no strikes to McDowell.
I think it's important for St. Ignatius, though, Kirsten, to keep the pressure on Aptos, force their defense to make plays, and given that Koenig is still a little bit off in his control, be selective at the plate.
That pitch low in the dirt. The 2-0 to McDowell. Ground ball again, Wofford's way. High in the air, but coming down just in time is Talbot. So 2 up, 2 down. As the third baseman, Tillinghast towards Wofford. Plenty of putouts for him in this ball game.
Well, I'll tell you what, I don't know how tall Talbot is down there at first base. He looks like he's about 6'2", 6'3". If he was 6 feet tall, I think McDowell's on. Because he had to get up in the air a little bit. And if he was any shorter, he wouldn't have come down quickly enough to get the out.
Well, and Talbot, he makes a good target down there at first. Got up in the air, as you said. Timing-wise, that could have been a problem as the count 2-0 to Tillinghast. So St. Ignatius scoring their only run back in the first, looking to get their bats hopping again. And this one lifted high to right field. And making the play is Evans. 3 up, 3 down. Just what Koenig was looking for, and heading into the bottom of the fourth, Aptos will look to extend its 3-1 lead.
Folks, do you need a highlight video for your athlete working to earn that 4-year scholarship? Then you want to contact kbcsports.com. We can provide recruiting video for any athlete in any sport. Not only that, but we give you your own recruiting page right on our website. No more mailing DVDs to colleges, folks. Instead, email coaches the link to your personal page. For more information, including pricing, you can contact us at recruits@kbcsports.com. Once again, that's recruits@kbcsports.com, or call us at 619-677-3246.
The junior pitcher, Jackson Schoenberger, Coming into the game, warming up for the St. Ignatius Wildcats. Schoenberger will face the bottom of the order. Glom, Koenig, and Connery. So Kukulon goes 3 innings.
We'll get those final numbers for you here in just a moment, folks.
And as we said before the game, the Wildcats with a number of pitchers that will be available for this game. Schoenberger, the junior, on a team laden with senior talent.
Well, his job right now is to come in and settle the ship, so to speak, provide some good innings, some easy outs, and really not allow this lead of Aptos, a 3-1 lead currently, to get any larger. But the defense has to settle in a little bit here for St. Ignatius. You're going to have to make some plays from here on out in order to win this ball game.
Schoenberger, the left-hander. Wouldn't be surprised if we actually, Jeff, obviously it depends on Schoenberger's performance, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see a number of pitching changes by St. Ignatius in the ball game again. They have a number of their starters available. They've had a great closer all season, pitching certainly one of the strengths. And as Gunnar Glom steps in, Glom reached on the error by the shortstop, advanced around on the wild pitch to third, and then scored on the Evans RBI single. Bottom of the fourth, Aptos with a 3-1 lead, and this first pitch fouled off. Just missing the bleachers. That street behind us, this is San Jose State University's graduation, so number of parking lots fully packed when both these teams arrived and their respective fans. The 0-1 to Glom, and 1-1.
Well, it's going to take Schoenberger a moment or two here to get settled in, but just like we saw from Kukulon, he works quickly, does not waste any time.
Ball low for 2-1. Kukulon with 4 strikeouts, gave up the 1 walk. This one fouled back, out of play. 2-2.
That wind continues to blow right to left. Someone's really going to have to get a hold of one here today to drive it out of the ballpark. Not impossible, but it's going to take quite an effort.
Glom stays alive. St. Ignatius facing the Santa Cruz Coast Athletic League undefeated champion. The Wildcats finished as the runner-up to St. Francis. St. Francis went 10-3-1 in league play, and that one tie coming against St. Francis. Hit hard to left field, and despite the Aptos cries, Dylan Foster ends Glom's attempt to reach once again. So 1 down as Koenig steps up. Koenig, 1-for-1 on the afternoon, singled back in the second, reached on the wild pitch, but then was caught with his hand in the cookie jar, caught trying to steal home.
You know, that drive, just going back to Glom's fly out to left field from it, looked good coming off the bat. You know, one change this year to high school baseball is the introduction of BB core bats, which may not mean anything to the casual baseball fan too much.
This one lifted high as the first baseman makes the play. Crook.
But the BB core designation is really a pretty dramatic change in the offensive style of play at the high school level. The aluminum bats, there was a big concern about the fact that aluminum bats were generating too much energy and too much torque on baseballs, and was witnessed by a couple of injuries, players getting hit by batted balls that are really coming off the bat quickly, those old aluminum bats. And so the modification was made to the bat design technology to introduce it as a BB core designation, which in essence almost relegates the new aluminum bats to almost like a wood bat. Not quite, but pretty close to using a wood bat, and the sweet spot on the bat is not quite as dramatic as on the aluminum bat. There isn't as much juice coming off the bat when you swing, and so you've seen a drop in home runs this year at the high school level, and maybe an improvement in safety. And I think it also helps the game as well. So you're not always relying on the 3-run homer. You got to move guys around. You got to become a better hitter, and I think it translates well if you want to get to the next level and play professionally where you have to use wood bats.
Certainly has been an issue this year. Jacob Connery went down swinging to Kukulon back in the second. Count 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 down. Aptos on offense, playing with a 3-1 lead. Bottom of the 4th action here at San Jose Muni, and Connery, the number 9 hitter, has worked Schoenberger to a full count. St. Ignatius fans down from San Francisco looking for something to get excited about. And this one back out of play over our heads here at Muni.
But we got the window open here. Did you bring your glove today with you?
You know, I didn't.
I did not
but
either.
Since there doesn't seem to be a snow cone exchange, Jeff, I don't think we're missing too much.
I hope nobody fires one back through our window here.
We got the screen to protect us. Foul tip by Connery. So Connery staying alive here, trying to keep this inning alive for Aptos.
If that were to occur, Kirsten, we may have to rely on our producer Robert Fields to reach across and make a great catch.
I would expect nothing less from Mr. Fields. That ball fouled down the third base line. Kirsten Fairchild's Jeff Kurtz bringing you the action here at San Jose Municipal Stadium. Breezy day, a number of flags around this ballpark, all fluttering in the right to left breeze. Ground ball. Giarantino, who's had a tough day, makes the out, and 3 up, 3 down as we head into the top of the 5th. Aptos hustles out to play defense, playing with a 3-1 lead, a Central Coast Section Division II championship on the line.
Catch the best of Central Coast Section baseball on CIF-Centralcoast.tv. That's right, folks. Today's game broadcast live on CIF-Centralcoast.tv, and after the game concludes, you can watch it again on demand. A replay of today's game after each one concludes, both the Division II, then moving to Division III and Division I. Or you could check out game highlights and more on CIF-Centralcoast.tv. Order a DVD or a Blu-ray disc of the game as well. We're your home for baseball on the Central Coast, CIF-Centralcoast.tv.
Kukulon gave up 4 hits in those first 3 innings and had 2 errors committed behind him, 4 strikeouts, 1 walk. As Jared Koenig stays up on the mound for Aptos High. Again, both of these programs, this is their 3rd title appearance in Central Coast Section. They have had to be the runner-up every time. And St. Ignatius, Jeff, they really need to get their offense going. They have not had a hit since the first inning.
And that's an infield single as well.
Yeah, and Michael Benedetti, the number 8 hitter, this second baseman, steps in, and he popped up to second, back in the second.
You know, with all the quibbles we've had about Koenig's control today, I got to tell you, if you're only limiting a team to an infield single through the first 4 innings, forget about what we've been telling you folks. That's pretty darn good.
Gave up the 1 walk to Golden Sun when that was scored on that crook infield single.
And he's hit Golden Sun as well, but that's been the extent.
To Benedetti, count now 1 and 2. Foul tip.
You know, he's kept St. Ignatius hitters off balance enough. You know, sometimes having great control and being in the strike zone a lot can, you know, obviously that's something you want to do, but can work to your detriment because hitters get dialed into, okay, the guy's always around the zone, I come up swinging, and you get a lot of hits that way. Sometimes when you're all over the place, you sneak in a few strikes here and there, it's hard for hitters to get in a rhythm.
Got a piece of that, but roped it foul. Foster on deck, then the top of the order.
I mean, it's not like pitching coaches promote don't pound the strike zone. But if Koenig's usually around the plate and suddenly he's not so much, like that pitch there, up And so now, if I'm DiBenedetto sitting at home plate, I'm like, okay, well, that pitch was above my head. I've had ones in the dirt, but then he's thrown a couple that have been right over the heart of the plate. What am I getting here? I have no idea.
That's what I had mentioned a few innings back. He really seems to be missing it all over the place, all over the zone, as this one hit high toward left field. And Glom makes the play. Bailey comes over just in case. One down as Foster steps in. Foster, who struck out back in the second.
So in that case, if you're a hitter, you know, it's almost better if Koenig was just missing off the corner or, you know, or just missing a little bit high, because at least then you know, okay, we're right in the area code. But if it's going to be at my toes and then above my head and then he's going to groove one down the middle, I mean, it just gives you kind of an unsettled at-bat.
So would you say he's been consistently inconsistent?
Yeah, and I don't think that's what he's going for. I mean, that's not his game plan walking in for Koenig, but it's working out for him.
It is.
I mean, that pitch was probably a good, you know, 6 to 8 inches off the strike zone, and now
comes right
boom,
back for the called
knees,
strike.
At the knees for a strike. So now here I am, Foster, going, okay, that first pitch was way outside. That one's at the knees, which was fantastic, a great pitch. Now what am I getting here for pitch 3?
The 1-1, big cut from Foster, 1-2.
And you can see Foster there is not, you know, he was kind of lunging at the ball a little bit with the arms. He wasn't getting a solid swing on the ball because he isn't sure what he's going to get. And that pitch might have been an inch or two off the plate as well.
And a called third strike as Foster heads to the dugout, 2 down as the top of the order, Nico Giarantino, 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts, strides into the game, and you'd like to see Giarantino be able to redeem himself a bit with a couple of the errors that he's committed on defense.
Well, he has gone deep into counts against Koenig. It just hasn't worked out in his favor, so.
And he swings at the first pitch and fouls it down at the third base line.
Not a bad strategy. When you got to go up to the plate with a plan, and there's 2 outs in the inning, and you're thinking like a leadoff hitter because that's what your role is normally anyway. But take the first good pitch you get and give it a ride.
And mishandled by the third baseman, Heinvetter, and that allows Giarantino to get aboard the first time today, so an error gives St. Ignatius a base runner with 2 down, and that brings up Goldenson, and Goldenson reached on a walk and then scored off of the Matt Crook single back in the first. And Goldenson 0 for 2 with a walk hit by a pitch. That came back in third. And this wild pitch allows Giarantino to scamper down to second in scoring position. So both ball clubs with 2 errors, Jeff, here in this championship game.
Well, it'd be huge for Goldenson. A base hit here. And keep in mind, Koenig has not yielded a base hit since the first inning, and that one didn't even get out of the infield. So, but a hit here to knock this to a 1-run game would be big for St. Ignatius. This is one of those swing innings, the 5th inning, where you don't want to have 6 outs left to work with and still be trailing by 2 when you haven't been able to get much going offensively.
So renewed energy in the St. Ignatius dugout as Goldenson swing and a miss for 1-1.
Nice off-speed pitch by Koenig right
Yes.
there. Koenig had retired 7 in a row until that error.
Runner in second. 1-1. Again, nice block by Booker.
You know, if I'm Goldenson right now, and given that Koenig has struggled with a fastball, I'm sitting off speed something over the plate.
Lifted high toward left field.
That's playable.
And in foul territory, Glom does not make the play.
That's a tough corner out there and left.
Yes.
That right
The wind carrying that away from Glom.
And Glom not really knowing where he was on a field that he doesn't play on all that frequently, you know. I mean, this is just their second appearance here this season, and when it goes in that corner and you don't know where the fence is, that can make it tough. No harm done, though, but
that's right.
Second life for Goldenson.
That's right. 2-2, the count to Goldenson. Giratano at second. Koenig delivers, and Goldenson fouls off. Well, we saw, Jeff, going back to how Giratana got on base, Heinvetter, that from our vantage point, that looked possibly like a routine ground ball. But we're not down on the field, and the wind is coming that way.
And I think Heinvetter took his eye off it a little bit right at the end of that play, and that's when it went right through the wickets after hitting his glove.
St. Ignatius dugout alive as count now full after the high pitch. Booker comes on out to confer with Koenig. This seems pivotal for St. Ignatius here, Jeff, as you mentioned. Here in the top of the fifth, trailing by 2 runs.
Especially with your number 3 hitter on deck. You know, if Goldenson can work a walk here, first and second with 2 outs.
Nick Johnson, the right fielder, on deck. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Little comebacker to Koenig, takes his time, underhand throw, and Aptos gets out of a jam. The Mariners, no hits, 1 error. Leave one, St. Ignatius leaves one stranded, and heading into the bottom of the fifth, Aptos 3, St. Ignatius 1.
Folks, you can watch highlights or a replay of today's game in our on-demand section. You can also buy a DVD or Blu-ray of today's game right now on CIF-Centralcoast.tv. Just click on Buy DVD, and you can order today's game right now. There's a link immediately underneath the video that you're watching on CIF-Centralcoast.tv where the description is. Click on that, and you can go ahead and order today's game. Have a game that lasts a lifetime. Brought to you by CIF-Centralcoast.tv.
Schoenberger returns to the hill, retired the side in the previous inning. St. Ignatius knocking on the door on offense, but Aptos getting out of the jam. Jeff, what do you think the difference has been? Has it truly been Koenig on the hill for the Mariners?
Well, I'll tell you what, he's got St. Ignatius off balance, and that's really all you want to do as a pitcher. You know, you don't have to throw 95 miles an hour to be effective. I mean, look at Exhibit A in the major leagues right now, Jamie Moyer. The guy's 105 years old. He doesn't crack 80 miles an hour on his fastball, and yet he's effective. Why? Because he keeps major league hitters off balance, and that's what Koenig has been doing, I think somewhat inadvertently, in that he has not been so pinpoint in his control, but in doing so, it has not allowed St. Ignatius to really get into a rhythm. I mean, you look there with that 2-strike pitch on Goldenson a moment ago. That was probably ball 4. It was up and in. He had to fight it off the handle, but he couldn't afford to let it go with 2 strikes. And Koenig has not been so close on his pitches that really Goldenson knew what to expect. So in that particular instance, that has been working to Koenig's favor in this game. And then he's had some spectacular defense behind him as well. I think it really set the tone back in the second inning when he had a great play behind him by Ori Wofford. That really got Koenig settled down. And since then, he's been pitching very, very well.
Top of the order for Schoenberger, John Evans, his first chance facing Schoenberger. 1 for 2 with a single to left field back in the second, and 1-0 the count to Evans.
Yeah, Evans showing bunt here, and Aptos cannot just be content with a 2-run lead in this game.
And he looks at strike 1 for 1-1. Evans, who will stay in Santa Cruz County and attend Cabrillo College, a junior college located in Aptos. Senior lays off the off speed for 2-1.
Well, Schoenberger's job right here is to keep the game at 3-1. You want to give your team an opportunity. You've got 6 more outs in this championship game, and retiring the leadoff hitter is key.
Still outside the zone high, 3-1.
Yeah, he's not giving Evans anything good on the inside half. He saw what happened the last time Evans got a pitch in the inside half. He drove it to left field for a base hit and drove in a run. But he'll have to do that now. I mean, 3-1. You cannot afford a walk here as the leadoff hitter.
That's exactly what happens. A 5-pitch walk, and Evans is aboard. That brings up Ori Wofford, the shortstop. 0 for 2, reached on an error, and then scored.
Well, I'll tell you what, this really opens things up for Aptos. I mean, you've seen how well they have run the bases and executed their offense today.
And Aptos back in the second on Nico Bailey's double. Got the leadoff hitter aboard. Here's Wofford facing Schoenberger for the first time, showing bunt, and ball 1.
Well, and this makes it a little bit more difficult for the pitcher. Schoenberger's already been missing high, Kirsten, and now he's got a runner over at first he's got to worry about. He's got Wofford, who's probably going to bunt and is already squared to take ball 1. So he's got a lot of things he's thinking about out there on the mound right now.
And the infield in, bunt laid down. Schoenberger looks to second, not in time. Wofford with the bunt single, and Aptos 2 on with no outs, and their number 3 hitter, Michael Heinvetter.
Probably going to rule that actually a fielder's choice as opposed to an infield single. Let's see if that's what they call it here.
Without the out,
yeah.
Let's see.
I'll tell you what, though, it wasn't a bad thought by Schoenberger, but I think you got to recognize the personnel. And the personnel is you've got a guy who's the leadoff hitter in the order who is over at first base and probably has good foot speed. Otherwise, he'd be batting 8th or 7th or 6th or something like that. So you can't really make that play. You got to go conventional, get the out at first, and then battle with a runner at second and 1 out. I guess the only saving grace for St. Ignatius here is they've got a double play opportunity if they can get the number 3 hitter, Heinvetter, to bounce into something. But Heinvetter's already laid down a sacrifice bunt. I might have him do the same thing here again, get runners at second and third with just 1 out.
So Jeff, still waiting for the official scoreboard here.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to be ruled a hit. That would have been an out over at first base pretty easily, and instead on the fielder's choice to go to second base, Evans was able to beat the throw. I think Evans was probably surprised there was even a play over there at
our official scoreboard now reading 3 errors. However, in my book, I do not show that. Nevertheless, stage has been set for Heinvetter. Heinvetter has committed 2 errors for Aptos on defense, a chance to play the hero and extend this Mariner lead. 2 on, no outs, shows bunt. Schoenberger.
He looked to third this time, but
he did, thought better of it. So 2 sacrifices on the day for Heinvetter, and the Mariners with 2 runners in scoring position, and that brings up the cleanup hitter, Talbot. Talbot still looking for his hit of the ball game and his first look at Schoenberger.
Well, they're going to intentionally walk him. And at the high school level, you actually don't have to throw the 4 pitches. So that's a smart move. You want to get the force out capability here. And so no sense pitching to the cleanup hitter with second and third and 1 out.
Well, that brings up Nico Bailey.
And now we've got a new pitcher coming into the game.
We absolutely do. St. Ignatius bringing in their number 1 pitcher, the senior Colin Mansour, who will pitch at Cal, or at least attend Cal as a pitcher. And Jordan Talbot, the Aptos base runner at first base, he will actually be going to Cal as well. So Mansour with an opportunity to warm up here. The Mariners no outs, bases loaded, bottom of the 5th with a 3-1 lead.
Actually 1 out in the game.
Excuse me, pardon me. Yes, on the sacrifice, absolutely.
Yeah, 1 out in the inning. So
Heinvetter advancing the runners.
Well, this is where it gets really intriguing right here, because Mansour has to come in. He's got to settle in right away because there's nowhere to put anybody. Nico Bailey, you can't afford a walk. You got to be right on top of it. And if you are, then fantastic. And then on top of being able to, having to come in and maintain your control of your pitches right away, you've got the bases loaded. Then you've got to try to induce a double play ball or a ball hit to one of your corner infielders who can get at least the force out at home plate. Or you're going for the strikeout. But all the pressure right now is on Mansour it's really, if I'm Nico Bailey, I've already doubled in the game. I've walked. I've scored a run. I am really relaxed coming up to the plate because I want to make Mansour throw my pitch, and I'm going to make myself as tough and out as I can be. And Mansour's really got his work cut out for him here.
Jeff, going back to Ori Wofford's at bat, now just, continuing to look at this official scoreboard that shows 3 errors, which had not been the case. Not exactly sure where that 3rd error would have been credited to.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to go, actually we've sent our producer over, Robert Fields, to check out what the official score was on that. Oh, gotcha. Okay, so Robert's saying it was the drop ball and the foul ball in left field was that 3rd. They called that an error for Aptos. So that is why Aptos has 3 errors in the game, only 2. But that was a fielder's choice is the ruling on that bunt attempt by Wofford, and so it counts as 0 for 1 for Wofford in that particular instance. He's now 0 for 3 on the day, but effective nonetheless. I mean, he'll take it. He's standing at second base right now.
Mansour facing a bases loaded situation. Aptos with an out, and Nico Bailey looks at ball 1.
Yeah, and if I'm Bailey, I'm taking until I get a strike here. I'm going to make Mansour come in, and even though he's warmed up a little bit here, I'm taking until I get strike 1.
Ball 2. Nope. Late call. One ball, 1 strike.
Greg Patrick, you got us again.
Now let's look at Bailey. And bases loaded. The right-hander, big cut. Strike 2.
Well, Mansour looks very comfortable out there. That pitch he got for his first strike was right on the outside corner, and that was not Bailey's pitch anyway, but right there at the knees, that was a tough one to catch up on.
2-2 the count.
Outfield's playing Bailey straight away. Double play depth up the middle, corners in. That's pretty conventional for a bases loaded situation with 1 out.
This one fouled out of play. So Schoenberger goes 1 1/3. Mansour, the 3rd pitcher for St. Ignatius, into this ball game, but he is their number 1. He was allowed to go 6 innings today. Comes in at the bottom of the 5th. And the 2-2 to Bailey.
That was huge.
That was huge indeed for Mansour. His first strikeout, 2 down, and that brings up the number 6 hitter, Brian Booker. Booker with a sacrifice bunt back in the 2nd, and then retired on the fly ball to left field in the 3rd. Mansour opens with the fastball, and Booker swing and a miss.
I like what I'm seeing from this kid. You know, you can't relax after you get that 2nd out. Even though you can breathe a little bit, you just need to get 1 more, but he is right back at it. Looks very smooth out on the mound.
Called strike for strike 2, 0-2. And Mansour, you can tell the way the St. Ignatius fans have reacted that they've got a guy they want in the driver's seat.
Yeah, Booker's really going to have to battle here.
Low for 1-2.
Tell you what, it should be a real big boost for St. Ignatius if they can work their way out of it. Bases loaded, 1 out, and you're able to get out of that type of a situation.
Catcher appealing for the check swing. He did not go. 2-2 the count.
I'll tell you what, that was extremely close. May have been a bit up, and I'll tell you,
the St. Ignatius fans were ready to celebrate.
Yes, they were.
Two batter space, 2 go down swinging. Colin Mansour is in the driver's seat. St. Ignatius gets out of a jam. Aptos, no hits. No errors by St. Ignatius, but 3 left stranded. And top of the 6, Aptos 3, St. Ignatius 1.
Looking for a great place to advertise your business while reaching the greater high school community? Then you want to advertise on CIF-Central-Coast.tv. We have great rates for your business while giving you the opportunity to get your message out to a very important demographic. For more information, give us a call at 619-677-3246.
Aptos has stranded 6 in this ball game. St. Ignatius 4. The number 3 hitter Nick Johnson will lead St. Ignatius off here in the 6th. Johnson reached on an error in the first inning and then retired on the fly ball to center field in the 3rd. So St. Ignatius has not been able to get their offense going. They do look to be making a substitution as coaching staff conferring with Greg Patrick. We'll wait for substitution. But
Well,
Johnson looks to be coming up.
Yeah, it looks like Johnson, Crook, and Klein are, at least they're warming up like they're going to hit.
That's right, as Koenig remains on the mound for Aptos.
Well, I'll tell you what, Aptos is leaving some opportunities on the table. The great thing that they've got going for them there, though, is their defense has been pretty darn good today, and Koenig has been keeping St. Ignatius off balance. But the Wildcats down to their final 6 outs here, Kirsten, but they're still within striking distance. So there's a long way to go here in this game. And we'll see if Koenig can maintain his ability to keep St. Ignatius hitters guessing in this game and maintain this 3-1 advantage.
Johnson, one of the best hitters on the St. Ignatius team. They need him to get hot. Instead, he looks at strike 1.
Well, so it looks like a couple of pitchers going to go down the left field line to warm up in the Aptos bullpen. I didn't catch who that was, but Aptos staying ready in back of Koenig just in case.
And that high and away for 1-1. Aptos coached by Dave Heinvetter. Is this one fouled out of play? Heinvetter in his 3rd year, and his counterpart today, Stecker, in his 3rd year. Stecker, a 1993 St. Ignatius grad, where he was a running back on the football team and a right fielder on the baseball team. But right now it's all about coaching, as his leadoff hitter here in the 6th, facing a 2-2 count. This one fouled down the left field line.
Nice job by Johnson hanging in. That pitch might have been ball 3, but you can't afford to guess on that when you've got 2 strikes on you.
Fouls out to the tremendous barbecue area here at San Jose Muni. Not sure if it's up and running today since the Giants have the day off, the single A club, the San Jose Giants.
Tell you what, though, if you're grabbing a bite over there, you've gotten 3 foul balls heading your way.
That's right. The 2-2 again. Ground ball to second. Koenig rushing over to cover the pace. He does not get in time. The St. Ignatius fans on their feet. Johnson is aboard.
I'll tell you what, Talbot made a mistake right there. He ranged way too far to his right on a ball that was pretty much headed directly to Jacob Connery. Connery had to go to his left a little bit, but Talbot strayed too far, and I think Koenig got a late break to the bag.
And Johnson credited with the hit as Crook steps in. Crook, who's had the RBI single to score St. Ignatius' only run back in the 1st. He's 1 for 2 on the day, and he's got a runner aboard with no outs here, top of the 6th. It's crunch time for St. Ignatius.
Yeah, they need to get a run, at least 1 in this inning, Kirsten. You want to give yourself every opportunity where you only have to grind out 1 more in the 7th to tie a ball game up, as opposed to trying to get both in that last inning.
So the mental error committed by Talbot, allowing the runner aboard. And a big cut, this skied high. And just out of play beyond the Aptos dugout.
Well, Crook.
You saw the wind take that,
yeah,
Jeff. It looked
sure
like
did.
definitely that Booker might be able to make a play on that, but the wind just carrying that ball.
Well, I'll tell you what, Crook gets a high leg kick with his lead foot to get that foot down and get it planted. And he looked like he was pretty settled in on that last pitch. He had great timing on that, just missed it by a quarter inch. So
the 1-1. Ropes one foul. Again, down a photographer row here at Muni, but the St. Ignatius fans, the hands have come up. It's not a lot to cheer about for them today. They are urging on as Koenig's going to be speaking with our Jeff Landucci.
Not sure what about there. He's talking to him about, I don't know what the conversation
Perhaps
would be
the
about.
ball just came in.
The ball, I don't know. He was rubbing it up for him, but I don't. That's just an excuse to have a dialogue.
And we're going to have a bat change by Crook. So let's set the scene. Top of the sixth, St. Ignatius trailing 3-1. Leadoff runner aboard. And it's a 1-2 count to the cleanup hitter, Matt Crook. Koenig deals. Rope towards center, line drive, back-to-back hits. St. Ignatius is in business.
And I'll tell you what, the first one to leave the infield today. Crook had an outstanding at-bat, Kirsten. You could tell he was right on top of it. His timing was there. He had that line drive foul down the first base line. He had a pitch that he was right on top of and just missed by a little bit on the inside half. And then he's got that smoked base hit to center field on one hop to the center fielder, and now he's going to come out for a pinch runner.
That's right. Looks like the pinch runner is
Nicholas Formanek?
Nicholas Formanek. Senior sees time at pitcher. He's actually will be attending Willamette University up in Oregon next year as a pitcher. He comes in to run. So Klein up, 2 on, no outs, and it looks like another substitution as on deck is Jack Stinn, who is a junior pitcher. He is on deck replacing Travis McDowell, who had been the DH for Kuklon. But first, Koenig has to get through Klein. Klein in the gap. 1 run comes, nope, holds up. So 3 hits relinquished by Koenig here in the 6th. He has given up 4 hits on the afternoon. So now bases loaded for St. Ignatius. No outs, top of the 6th, trailing by 2. And for his first at bat is Jack Stinn. And Aptos is going to have a conversation. Do you expect Koenig to exit?
Well, I'll tell you what, it was interesting, that last base hit. That might have been a base hit anyway. I think it was enough in the 5-5 hole that Wofford would have had a hard time getting to it, but he was effectively taken out of the play because he was shadowing the runner, Johnson, at second base. And normally when you've got a right-handed hitter up, the second baseman's going to do that because the hitter is more likely going to pull the ball. But instead it was Wofford who was doing that. And he didn't even have a prayer at getting to that one that was in the hole. It wasn't hit really hard, but he was effectively taken out of the play because he was shadowing the runner. So I think Koenig's going to get it. They're getting on top of him, but he has been masterful so far throughout the game in retiring St. Ignatius hitters. So he may have another hitter or 2 here, Kirsten, but he's probably on the edge. What with the bases loaded and nobody out? This is a big opportunity for the Wildcats.
Bases loaded, no outs. Stinn steps in for his first at-bat of the afternoon. Swings at the first pitch, a little blooper, just foul down the right field line. That might have been a little tough to handle if that would have dropped in.
Oh, that would have been at least 2 runs in.
And as you mentioned, Klein's hit in the hole. Hit it where nobody ain't.
We'll see. They're shading him to the right-hand side. The defense is.
The 0-1. Missing inside for 1-1.
Nice play by Booker to get there and block that one. You do not want to give up 1 run without St. Ignatius having to put the ball in play.
So both teams with 4 hits. St. Ignatius with a deficit, however, 3-1. The 1-1 off speed. Missing. Aptos fans wanted a called strike. Instead, it's St. Ignatius fans who celebrate.
Corners in here defensively right now, trying to cut off the run at the plate. It's not really double play up the middle, though, because Connery is too far off of second base. Now he takes a step toward the bag.
The 2-1. Grounded foul.
Well, that's
Or
the one.
2-2.
That's the one Stin wanted right there. You got a 2-1 pitch.
Stin is hungry. You can just feel his intensity from up here in the booth. What an opportunity to come in. What a setting, right? Table has been set for Stin. Again, no outs. Bases loaded. His team trailing by 2 runs. Off speed, ground ball to second. And the out is recorded, but Johnson scores. St. Ignatius has cut the deficit to 1.
Well, good at bat by Stin. If you get 2 strikes, you want to go to the opposite side. And he did exactly that. And actually, a slow enough roller where Connery didn't have an opportunity to make a double play.
We've got a St. Ignatius player down.
Is that Stin
I
after he
believe it
crossed the
might
bag?
be Stin. So he's being attended to. And so 1 run comes in. That's Johnson.
I didn't see what happened there. He was hustling down the line because it was a bang-bang play at first base, but I don't know if he
looks like he's having his right leg attended to. Kyle Tillinghast is going to step in. He's 0 for 2, but his first appearance, or he's 0 and 2. And Tillinghast, yesterday they had the school awards at St. Ignatius, and he was awarded the physics award. He will attempt to walk on to Cal's baseball team in the fall, but right now, of course, everyone's concern on, I believe, Stin. As you said, we were watching what was happening at the plate and elsewhere on the field, and he's just in foul territory and being helped up and gets a standing O from the St. Ignatius fans. A little wobbly.
Yeah, it's good to see, though, that he's able to walk. Tillinghast, the physics award. Well, he's got to solve the physics right now of Koenig's curveball, because that is really what's been tripping him up in this
That's right.
game.
Yeah, exactly that. His head coach, Matt Stecker, actually teaches physics and chemistry at St. Ignatius.
It's a sharp group over here at St. Ignatius.
I tell you, Tillinghast again headed to Cal along with his teammate Mansour, but right now it's all about baseball.
Oh, they're going to pitch to him.
Second and third. Runners at second and third for St. Ignatius, and Greg Patrick
a balk.
A balk on Kagan. St. Ignatius has tied up this ball game as you hear the boos from the Aptos fans, and Coach Heinvetter comes out immediately.
Wow. I did not see if Koenig came set or not, but he may have bounced into that motion. Instead of bringing your hand set and then hesitating for a moment, he might have come set and bounced right into it, and that would be a balk call, but I didn't notice. I was surprised that they were pitching to Tillinghast and thinking to myself, well, if Tillinghast does what he did the last time and lofts the ball to the right field like he did, that's a sacrifice fly. He's going to tie the game up. Now he can give his team a lead. Infield in.
Klein at third. Swings away. Single, RBI single by Tillinghast, and just like that, the momentum has officially swung the Wildcats' way. The dugout out to welcome Klein in. 4-3 St. Ignatius on a disappointing turn of events for Aptos, I'm sure, after the delay of game because of the injury to Stin. Kagan gets called on a balk immediately following, and so Tillinghast with the RBI single, and I believe we're going to have another substitution for St. Ignatius, and now in for his first at-bat is the junior infielder Christian Santos, hitting in the number 8 spot in place of DeBenedetti.
Well, what did we say, Kirsten? Things can change in a hurry. And 3 consecutive hits to begin the inning, including that infield single by Johnson, where Talbot strayed too far off the bag, and that got it rolling for St. Ignatius.
Fouled out of play.
And now it's a one-run lead for the Wildcats when they had done nothing against Koenig for the first 5 innings.
That's right, and on deck is Jason Locke, the junior. So a number of substitutions made by St. Ignatius.
Coach Stecker going deep into his bench here.
And Kagan trying to settle down, gets the called strike inside corner. It's a 2-1 count to Santos.
I don't think that's right because we just had a foul ball a moment ago from Santos. I think we're at 0-2.
Right, it should be 1-2. Everyone's all aflutter here. And Patrick freezes everyone.
That's right. Well, Booker wanted to give him a long look at that pitch inside, but nice eye by Santos.
1 down, 3 runs in, runner on first, and it's a 2-2 count to Santos as Kagan misses inside, so count now full. You're so right, Jeff. That mental error, if you will, on Talbot seemed to start the slide here for Aptos. St. Ignatius ground ball, Wofford. Another solid play from the shortstop, but damage has been done. St. Ignatius, 3 runs, excuse me.
That's only the second out of the inning. But no, you know what? Wofford thought the same thing because he was starting to run to the dugout too. So you're not the only one.
That's what I get for watching Wofford. You can't take your eyes off him. He's such a human highlight reel. But yes, you're exactly right. He's gonna have. There's another out to record as Jason Locke again, the junior, steps in. He is hitting in the number 9 spot in place of Dylan Foster. Giarantino, the leadoff hitter, on deck, looking for his 4th at bat.
You know, you can't overemphasize enough how important the runner is at second base right now in Tillinghast if Locke can drive him in. An insurance run here for St. Ignatius would be huge.
As the go-ahead runs come in. Big cut from Locke for strike 1.
A little bit late on that swing on a nice pitch up and in from Koenig.
Aptos sticking with Koenig. Trying to get out with more without giving up any more damage here after 2 big swings by Locke. Perhaps Koenig just 1 strike away from heading to the dugout. Chatter up in St. Ignatius's dugout. And this one fouled out of play.
Well, you talked about it, Kirsten. Talbot ranging a little bit too far to his right on a ball hit to the second baseman. Koenig not able to get to first base in time, and Nick Johnson got on with an infield single. Crook had a good at-bat, a line single to center field, and that got it going for the St. Ignatius offense.
Still 0-2.
Fouled at the plate.
Yeah, Locke stays alive.
Nice 2-strike hitting there by Locke. You know, I'm still kind of surprised that Aptos is using their shortstop to stay so close to the second base bag to keep Tillinghast on, as opposed to putting their shortstop more in the hole. Well, there he's going to jog back into the hole.
Rope to left field. Just falls in, and coming across is Tillinghast. St. Ignatius gets the insurance run thanks to the 2-out double by Jason Locke.
Wow, what great hitting. 2 strikes, no less, and he pulls the ball on the inside half of the plate, going with the pitch down the line for a double.
5-3, the team from San Francisco leads as Giarantino 0 for 3 heading into this game, and St. Ignatius fortunes change in a moment in high school sports as Locke will, I'm sure, come into great applause.
Yeah, as Foster, who he replaced in the batting order, can come in to run for him. So Foster is going to run for Locke.
Yep. And this is Nico Giarantino. Koenig has struck him out twice, and then Giarantino reached on an error by the third baseman. Top of the 6th inning action. Kirsten Fairchild's Jeff Kurtz. You're listening to CIF-Central-Coast.tv, and St. Ignatius offense dormant. With the exception of 1 run in the first, here it is, the 6th inning, and they have exploded. This one fell right over our heads.
Well, if you were wondering, at the beginning of the inning, someone had jogged down to the bullpen. We didn't catch who for Aptos to warm up. He's not there anymore, and there's really, it doesn't seem to be any interest on the part of the coaching staff for Aptos to pull Koenig out of the game at this point.
Off speed. Foul down. Third base line.
Well, this has been quite a turnaround in this ball game. A St. Ignatius offense that had only 1 infield single through 5 innings has 5 hits and 4 runs in this inning alone.
Hit toward left field. Gunnar Glom backs up and ends the inning, but not before St. Ignatius fans have plenty to celebrate. The Wildcats, 4 runs on 5 hits. No Aptos errors, 1 left stranded, heading into the bottom of the 6th. St. Ignatius leads it 5-3.
Want to have your games broadcast live on the internet, be able to watch them again and again on demand, and make money for your sports program? It's possible. If you want to give your students the opportunity to create their own broadcast for your school's athletic event, we can do that too. You want to contact us at info@kbcsports.com. We offer season packages for schools, a full curriculum for your students, and an opportunity to raise up to $10,000 for your sports program. Again, that's info, I-N-F-O, @kbcsports.com, or call us at 619-677-3246.
Colin Mansour returns, and it seemed like when he entered the ball game back in the previous inning, taking over for Schoenberger, St. Ignatius' confidence just seemed to blossom, Jeff.
Well, you know, given how well Mansour pitched last inning, I was surprised that Matt Stecker didn't start him. You know, let him go the first 6 innings and keep Aptos off the board. But clearly, Matt Stecker, being a chemistry and physics teacher at St. Ignatius, is much smarter than I am, and recognized that at that moment in time he could put Mansour in and get himself out of a bases-loaded jam with a couple of strikeouts, and then his offense was going to come alive in the 5th inning and get the lead back and get an insurance run on top of it. So that's pretty impressive. Now, with Mansour on the mound and 6 outs to go, St. Ignatius, they are in a prime position to close this out and get a title.
And Mansour facing the bottom of Aptos' order, the number 7 hitter, Connor Glom. Big swing and a miss by Glom. Glom reached on an error back in the 2nd, facing the St. Ignatius starter. He scored a run, and then he retired on the fly out to center field against Schoenberger. And so it's been 3 at-bats for Glom and 3 St. Ignatius pitchers as the count 1-1.
Well, I like Mansour's stuff out there. He throws a pretty great breaking ball. And his fastball is top-notch, as you can see there, as Glom unable to catch up with that one. His curveball breaks sharply. I mean, it's like it falls right off a table. And so you've got a good plane on it, you think, from your swing, and then the next thing you know, nothing but air.
1 ball, 2 strikes the count. 2-2.
But it's important for Mansour to get the leadoff hitter here. You don't want to give Aptos a boost of confidence by letting them get the leadoff man aboard after you've had a 4-run inning and taken the lead.
Ground ball to second. High chopper takes a friendly bounce for Connor Glom, and Aptos does just that. They get the leadoff hitter aboard.
Well, sometimes that innocuous pebble on the field comes up big for you. Connor Glom got a helpful bounce on what should have been a routine grounder to the second baseman. And instead, he's on at first.
The Mariners with some luck of their own still in play as Koenig up. And Mansour way out of the zone for ball one. Neither program, again, has ever hung a CCS banner in their gymnasiums. It will be the third time the charm for one of these teams. Aptos with one on board and no outs. However, again, that wonderfully delayed, dramatic call by Greg Patrick for 1-1. Mansour deals. Koenig to right field. Johnson makes the play. One down.
You know, one thing I'm surprised about right there, given how well Aptos has employed the sacrifice bunt in this game, why they didn't elect a sacrifice there and at least play for the 1 run. You've got the 7th inning left as well. If you can knock this down to a 1-run deficit going into the 7th, all the better, especially when you're at the bottom of your lineup here.
Excellent point, Jeff, as Connery faces Mansour for the first time. Ground ball stays on the ground. Second baseman low in the dirt, but still the out recorded.
Nice pick by Matt Crook right there.
Yeah.
Connery range into his left, Di Benedetti range into his left and making the play, and Crook did a nice job going down to grab that ball from his shoe tops.
So Glama at second as 2 outs, and top of the order for Aptos, Evans. And again, Evans has not faced Mansour. He singled against Kukulon. So 1 of 2 for a walk, 1 for 2 for a walk. And Mansour, another kind of big miss on the first pitch for ball 1.
I'll tell you what, I'm going back to that at bat by Koenig. You know, given what Connery did just there and putting the ball to the right side, you could have had Glom at third base where a base hit for sure would get him in. Now you're asking Glom to make a big play if Evans is able to get a base hit.
And this into the bleachers or just past the bleachers.
I mean, you got to be thinking, if you're Glom at second base, I'm scoring from here on a base hit to the outfield. And you're going to force the outfielders to make a strong throw and make a play at home plate to get you. But it would certainly make you breathe a lot easier if you were already standing at third base and you only had 90 feet to go.
That's right.
Or there's an error or something like that, you'd get the run. So I'm still surprised that Aptos, who has laid down 3 sacrifice bunts in this game, didn't elect to do that there with Koenig.
2 down. As Mansour checked, 1-1. And a called strike, 1-2. Dave Heinvetter, the Aptos head coach, is the third base coach. One of his assistants, John Talbot, I assume the father of Jordan Talbot, the first base coach. Aptos also on its staff, Greg Koenig, coaching staff, and Mark Aricorn, the former big leaguer. As this one fouled back by Evans.
The other thing, too, Kirsten, I want to point out, Glom does not have a very big lead at second base.
No.
He needs to get another couple steps. They are not really holding him on, is St. Ignatius, because they've already got 2 outs in the inning, so they just need to get the batter here. But he's got room for another step or 2, and steps are going to be really critical if there's a play at the plate.
A called third strike. Mansour has lived up to his reputation. However, giving up the 1 hit to Glom. Aptos, no runs on 1 hit, no St. Ignatius errors, strands 1. That is their 7th runner stranded of the ball game. As we head into the top of the 7th, St. Ignatius leads at 5-3, and Jeff Kurtz takes over the play-by-play duties.
Thanks very much, Kirsten. Before we do that, we want to let you know we've got baseball for you all Memorial Day weekend. After all the action today in the Central Coast section, we head to Sacramento for the Sac Joaquin Section Baseball Championships on Monday, May 28th. Game coverage starts at noon on CIF-SacJoaquin.tv. Put the game on and follow the hardball action all weekend. Brought to you by Play On Sports and the Play On High School Sports Network. Well, Koenig back out on the mound and looking to complete the game as he is out for the top of the 7th inning. He will be facing Goldenson, Johnson, and Crook as 8 batters came to the plate. for St. Ignatius in the 6th inning, allowing them to get a 5-3 lead. They are a mere 3 outs away from their first title in school history. Aptos trying to hold them here defensively and give their team an opportunity, as all of our strategy we were talking about last inning and whether or not there should have been a sacrifice bunt or what have you was all rendered moot because Evans struck out on a beautiful pitch in the outside corner from Mansour, who has been very, very good since he's come on in the 5th inning. Now this is Goldenson, who has walked and scored, been hit by a pitch and grounded out, 0 for 1 in the ball game. He'll be followed by Johnson in the on-deck circle. This pitch from Koenig outside. The count evens at 1-1. Is it just me, or is the wind picking up even more out there right now, Kirsten, right to left?
I tell you, we have had the window open here, and now I'm chasing papers.
Count is 2 balls and a strike. No activity in the Aptos bullpen right now. The 2-1 pitch. Swung on and missed, strike 2.
Yeah, the off speed. Caught Goldenson.
And Booker threw the ball over the pitcher's head back out to the mound. Connery then threw it over his pitcher's head, trying to get it back to him. It was up to Goldenson, the catcher, to finally get it to Koenig. And he's hitting.
St. Ignatius fans enjoying that. Aptos appearing a little unfocused at the moment.
And then strike 3 on the outside corner. So Koenig got some help from Goldenson, but didn't return the favor by grooving it down the heart of the plate for him. I don't know if so much for any kind of gentleman's agreement. And Goldenson strikes out looking for the first out of the inning. Nick Johnson now the batter.
Johnson, who opened the floodgates, if you will, on that infield single back in the last inning and scored the tying run.
First pitch misses inside for a ball. Johnson 1 for 3 on the day.
Excuse me, not the tying run, but cutting into the deficit and allowing Crook to come in as the tying run. Nice off speed. Ooh.
Just missed inside again, 2-0. Koenig did not like that call and will take a circuitous route back to the rubber.
A walkabout?
Yes.
An Australian walkabout?
The pitcher's version, when you get a call you don't like. The 2-0. Ripped down the right field line, but foul, as Koenig staying on the inside half of the plate on the left-handed hitting Nick Johnson. Johnson's also reached on an error back in the 1st inning, so he's been on base twice today. The 2-1. Darts off the outside corner for a strike, 2-2.
Jeff Ian Anderson has been the senior closer of the St. Ignatius squad all season long. I'm not sure if we'll see him, though.
This one's going to be bounced up the middle, past a diving Connery for a base hit.
Johnson gets this one out of the infield.
2 consecutive hits and as many at-bats for Nick Johnson. And the batter is Matt Crook, who singled to center in his last at-bat. He's 2 for 3 on the day. Also has an infield single and an RBI, and scored the tying run in the ball game on a balk by Koenig. So 1 out, 1 on. The number 4 hitter in the order for St. Ignatius up. Short lead over at first for Johnson. This pitch is in the dirt. Nice stop by Booker, who then can't find the baseball, but it's not too far away. Not too far away from him, and Johnson's not going to go for second base. Had a little bit of everything in this game so far. Koenig comes to the plate. That pitch is swung on and missed. That was a little bit high, but Crook is seeing the ball very well right now, you can tell. I mean, he's got his timing down, and he is eager at the plate. 1-1. This pitch is swung on in the dirt. Maybe a little too eager. 1 ball and 2 strikes. On deck, Jack Klein. Infield shading, Crook to pull. And he does. End of the hole, base hit. Right field. Holding at second is Johnson. Nice 2-strike hitting by Crook. He's got 3 hits on the day.
Deja vu from the previous inning, perhaps?
Well, this is the fourth look for this St. Ignatius lineup at Koenig. And they're starting to get the hang of him a little bit here as Klein 1 for 3 on the day, singled and scored the go-ahead run in the 6th. And St. Ignatius looking for more right here, first and second with 1 out.
And Jeff, as we mentioned, about availability in the Aptos bullpen, we did see someone warming up. Again, Aptos a 7-5 win over Mount Pleasant back on Thursday, and it was Talbot who had the 3-hitter complete game performance. He is the Mariners' #1, so they needed their #1 to get to this championship game.
Time was called by Klein, and Koenig doing the stare down after that. I don't know if he was staring at the home plate umpire, Greg Patrick, or at Klein. And this one is going to get away from the catcher, as this is another wild pitch, and the runners move up 90 feet. And I think you got to settle Koenig down right here, because he threw that one as hard as he could and overthrew. I think he was a little upset that that late time was called, and I don't know if he was upset at the hitter or what, but you don't want to be taking chances here when you're trailing by 2 in the 7th inning.
And you see this will be it
Yep.
for Jared Koenig.
And the Aptos crowd rising to their feet to salute the pitcher who has gone deep into the game, the senior playing in his final game in an Aptos uniform, but he is not happy in that dugout right now.
No, absolutely not. And boy, what opportunity for the senior Stephen Eichhorn. Eichhorn, whose older brother Kevin, part of that Aptos Little League team, one of the pitchers, had a tremendous career at Aptos High, now playing in the minor leagues. And his father, of course, the big leaguer. And Eichhorn just been synonymous with Aptos, but he will have his work cut out for him.
Well, interestingly enough, Stephen's dad, Mark, who pitched for the Blue Jays and the Angels, did not impart his delivery, which was, dare we say, unorthodox, to his son. Mark Eichhorn used to drop down sidearm or
like
submarine.
Yeah.
And led him to a long Major League Baseball career as a middle reliever and closer in some instances, and a great setup man for both the Blue Jays and the Angels. And Stephen did not elect to go with the submarine delivery.
Neither did his older brother Kevin.
That would be tough to teach, and you wonder how Mark came up with that when he was a youngster.
St. Ignatius, Jeff, they made the most of their opportunities in this ball game. They haven't had too many until that just pivotal 6th inning. And they were so able to count on their #1 guy, Colin Mansour, who just came in as, I believe given up the 1 hit, but has battled admirably.
Well, now we've got another pitcher jogging down the Aptos bullpen to get warm, just in case Eichhorn stumbles out there. Meanwhile,
Jacob Marino looks like heading out to the bullpen.
Yeah, and Klein was issued the intentional pass when the runners moved up on the wild pitch to set up the force-out situation. So there is 1 out. And a new batter, Jack Stinn, with the bases loaded. A double play opportunity for Aptos would get him out of the inning. Eichhorn, working out of the stretch, comes set and delivers. And this one is popped in the air, left side, near the dugout, and making the grab is the third baseman, Heinvetter, and that is exactly an out that Aptos needed very badly. A quick one to the infield that advances nobody.
Jeff, although he's already headed to the dugout, it's nice to see Stinn back in this ball game after he was being attended to after being thrown out at first earlier in the ball game.
Yeah, it looked like he might have twisted his knee or something last inning, but instead he manages to stay in the game. This is Tillinghast, who's going to ground it to Talbot, who's going to shovel it over to Eichhorn, and in 2 pitches, Stephen Eichhorn works his way out of a bases-loaded 1-out situation. And he's got a proud father over there on that bench. He used to do the same thing for the Blue Jays and Angels. How about that? Aptos now going to the bottom of the 7th inning, trailing by 2 in this Division II championship game. Your score, 5-3. You're following the action on CIF CIF-Centralcoast.tv.
Make sure you stay tuned for the CIF-Centralcoast.tv post-game show where we will select our player of the game as well as wrap up all the action from this ball game. That's coming up following this game on CIF-Centralcoast.tv.
Jeff Kurtz alongside Kirsten Fairchilds, our producer Robert Fields, Bo Fertig providing all the video that you are seeing today. And folks, as we go to the bottom of the 7th inning, Aptos is going to send up their 2, 3, and 4 hitters to face the best pitcher St. Ignatius has, Colin Mansour. And that is exactly what you want to have happen if you're Aptos in this game, is to send up some of your best hitters against your team's best pitcher. And if you're a baseball fan, Kirsten, you can't ask for anything more than that.
Well, and this will be the first look for both the number 2, 3, and 4 hitters facing Mansour against the previous pitchers. Only one hit delivered by the heart of this lineup, and that came back in the first when Heinvetter singled off Kukulon. And Mansour has had some wild not wild pitches per se, but some big misses on first pitches. And I kind of get the impression he's a bit of a perfectionist. He has seemed very unhappy with himself after that.
He came into the game in the 5th inning, has gone an inning and 2/3 so far. Of those 6 batters he has faced, he has struck out 3 of them and yielded just 1 hit.
And I should mention Ian Anderson, who's been the closer all season for St. Ignatius, is warming up in the Wildcats bullpen.
So just in case Mansour were to falter, he's got a man behind him.
And Anderson, like his teammate Johnson, will be heading to play baseball at Vassar in the fall.
Wofford to step in. He's made some sparkling defensive plays earlier in the game. He has reached base twice on a fielder's choice and an error, 0 for 3 in the game. He's also struck out. The first pitch from Mansour is up and in for a ball, 1-0. And critical for Wofford to get aboard here. You want to get the leadoff man on with nobody out, and then you've got the tying run coming to the plate from then on. The 1-0, low, 2-0.
Mansour, Giarantino signaling him to settle down. Perhaps the most important 9 outs of their high school careers right now for both squads.
This pitch fouled away.
Excuse me, 3 outs.
I was going to say, unless you were calling us for extra innings here.
You know, we're not playing 9 innings today, Jeff. Only 7. We have to settle for only 7.
Unless Aptos can tie it. We'll keep going until we get a winner. There won't be a tie. The St. Ignatius had one earlier in the year, but we won't have one today. That is a big swing and a miss by Wofford, and the count evens at 2-2. Wofford needs to get tough with 2 strikes, taking his time. Mansour standing on the rubber, waiting for the signal from his catcher, Goldenson. This pitch on 2-2 fouled away. And then Goldenson looking to throw the ball back out to the mound as it slipped out of his hand. Not something you see every day.
No,
I've seen a lot of that.
Maybe when they're T-ball or something, but yeah, that was very unusual.
Well, the previous inning we saw the Aptos catcher overshoot his pitcher, then the second baseman overshot it back, and Goldenson ended up throwing the ball to Koenig, and then Koenig struck him out.
Yeah.
2 balls, 2 strikes, the pitch. Fouled away again, exact same spot, over the backstop, right side. Wind's starting to blow in a little bit from left center. The 2-2 pitch. Right side, base hit. Down the line, it will be cut off along the right field line by Nick Johnson. And a single for Wofford, he is aboard.
What timely piece of hitting from Wofford. What a great piece of hitting. Doing what a senior should do. Get aboard during crunch time.
And not trying to do too much with it either, Kirsten.
No,
that ball on the outside half of the plate, and he went to the right side with it.
You know, he had that big swing and a miss. This one, not as big a cut, but very effective.
Michael Heinvetter, the batter, singled in the first and a couple of sacrifice bunts in the game, 1 for 1. Tillinghast cheating in at third base just in case a bunt is on, but instead a pitch high, ball 1. I don't think Heinvetter is going to be bunting here. You need 2 runs, not 1, and you don't want to take the bat out of the number 3 hitter's hands. In this situation, at least.
Talbot on deck.
We'll see if Wofford's going to run as well, potentially. Keep himself out of the double play situation. This pitch up the middle, a soft line drive, and doubled off is Wofford. He was going on the play.
St. Ignatius 1 out away. Heads up play by Mansour as he looks to the heavens. That's our... Mansour is fired up, Jeff.
Jordan Talbot now the batter. 0 for 2. Has struck out, also intentionally walked in his last at-bat. This one bounced foul as Aptos down to their final out. The base is empty, and so the bench is empty, I should say, for St. Ignatius as well. Everybody on the top step of the dugout right now. 0-1. Up in the air, center field, playable for the center fielder, Klein. He gloves it, and St. Ignatius is your winner. The Wildcats of St. Ignatius come from behind with 4 runs in the 6th inning and win it 5-3 against the Aptos Mariners for their first title in school history in baseball.
The customary dog pile. Colin Mansour, the senior, coming in and delivering. So capable from the mound, but Jeff, that, if he didn't make that catch on that line drive back to him, that could have proved disaster.
Well, folks, we're going to get ready for the CIF-Central Coast.tv post-game show, where we will select our player of the game for the victorious St. Ignatius Wildcats. Your final score, 5-3, St. Ignatius over Aptos. Stay tuned. We'll be back with more here in just a moment.
Fourth and 10 from the 41-yard line for St. Augustine. Kennedy dropping back to pass. Looking left, firing, incomplete, intended for Noland. No penalty flags on the field. Mar Vista will take over on downs, and Jordan Lertique will take that knee. And the Mar Vista Mariners knock off the number 2 seeded St. Augustine Saints at Mesa College in a dominating performance on both sides of the football for Mar Vista. They trailed 14-0 and came back.
Again, down 2-0, facing adversity, and they've really just turned the table around since game number 3. Set an attack, great block made back inside the Maverick zone. A chance there by Bosback back inside the Maverick zone. Ball attacked there by.
We're back here at San Jose Municipal Stadium for the CIF-Central Coast.tv post-game show, and as the award ceremony about to take place down on the field here at Muni. Jeff Kurtz alongside Kirsten Fairchilds. Kirsten, we just had a quick discussion about our player of the game from St. Ignatius, and we actually came up with 2.
Exactly that. Well, and they're both seniors, Jeff. Both of them are pitchers, although we didn't see one in relief today. But we're going to go ahead, and we have to give a nod, of course, to Colin Mansour, the senior. 2 2/3 innings of work. Gave up 2 hits, no walks, and struck out 3. But that great defensive play to rob Michael Heinvetter of a hit, that could have perhaps opened the door for Aptos, but instead Colin Mansour helping his team. He's the number 1 pitcher. They've been looking toward him all season long, and he comes in relief and delivers. And then on offense, we need to mention the relief pitcher, Matt Crook. Matt Crook 3 for 4, had the RBI single for the first run back in the first, and then scored the tying run in the sixth. He had a great day at the plate today.
Yeah, you know, and going back to Mansour for just a moment, Kirsten, he came into the game in the fifth inning in a bases-loaded, one-out situation and struck out 2 to end the inning. When Aptos, if they had added runs there, this could have been a very different ball game at that particular point. Instead, it stayed 3-1, and St. Ignatius came right back and took the lead with those 4 runs in the sixth inning right after Mansour shut down Aptos's offense.
Exactly that. I mean, this game was very evenly played throughout, Jeff, and we saw some, funky bounces that allowed a runner to get aboard, and then the balk. I mean, there were little things, but also just the amount of wild pitches we saw that continued to advance the runners. Those kind of we've seen a couple of mental errors. This was not a clean game. 5 errors total for the teams, the little things, but I think St. Ignatius, once Mansour came out and took the mound, the whole team's confidence really seemed to blossom.
Well, folks, that's going to do it for the Division II championship game. We're going to get ready for Division III. It was scheduled to begin at 4 o'clock, but since the players only have about a half an hour to warm up right now, they might extend that a little bit, but check back with us at 4. But your final score here, congratulations to both teams for getting this far, as well as their coaching staffs, but in particular, congratulations to Matt Stecker, his staff, the players at St. Ignatius High School. They win it here today, their first title in baseball in school history, a 5-3 win over Aptos. You've been following the action here on CIF-Central-Coast.tv, a Play On Sports production and part of the Play On High School Sports Network. Also following us on youtube.com/PlayOnNetwork. I'd like to thank our cameraman, Bo Fertig, our producer, Robert Fields, for my broadcast partner, Kirsten Fairchilds. I'm Jeff Kurtz saying so long for a moment. We'll come back with Division III, folks, in just a little bit. You're following it all on your home for high school sports in the Central Coast section, CIF-Central-Coast.tv.